Committee of the Whole is now called to order for May 4th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Mr. Clerk, you can do a roll call.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Just as a reminder, the speakers are on and recording, so if you don't want it on the record, don't say it. Councilwoman Banks.
Present.
Councilwoman Bland.
Here.
Councilman Brightwell.
Here.
Councilwoman Haynes.
Present.
Councilwoman Pro Tem Hogan.
Here.
Councilman Mandelbaum.
Present.
Council President Hicks.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Communications. The Southfield City Council has established the following rules of procedure for all speakers. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the council. Each speaker is responsible for his or her comments, and the city of Southfield does not, by permitting such remarks, support, endorse, or accept the content thereof as true or accurate. No speaker may make personal or impertinent attacks upon any officer, employee, city council member, or other elected official that is unrelated to the manner in which they perform their duties. No person shall use abusive or threatening language towards any individual when addressing the city council. Any person who violates this section shall be directed by the presiding officer to be orderly. If a person addressing the council refuses when so directed, such person may be deemed by the presiding officer to have committed a breach of peace by disrupting and impeding the orderly conduct of the public meeting of the city council, and may be ordered by the presiding officer to leave the meeting. If the person refuses to leave as directed, the presiding officer may direct any law enforcement officer who is present to escort the violator from the meeting. The council may not provide responses to public comments during the meeting. If you have provided your contact information when you signed up for public communications, the city will provide a more formal response to you in the near future, should it be needed. The council may respond to comments at the end of communications if they are able to do so. First person up is Mrs. Betty Robinson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just have 3 items I want to highlight. First will be rental property moratorium. As recently accomplished in Birmingham, due to a rental property that was had gun violence. And I think we should take a look at that because we also have a lot of rental property in Southfield. Code enforcement regarding loud parties in the neighborhoods every weekend. Police should canvass the neighborhoods on a weekly basis. Council members should also attend, just a suggestion, council meetings of surrounding neighborhoods like Birmingham, West Bloomfield, and Farmington Hills to see what are their best practices. I visit them as well. I applied for COSA about 3 or 4 months ago. The application was processed on March 27th, and I haven't heard from anyone from that particular group to interview me so I can be accepted on the council. So can somebody take a look at that, to see what's going on with that? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mila Savage.
Hello, everyone. I am here regarding parcel PZRRUDD 260001. My concerns about this property is the zoning. It's a residential area, 98% at least residential. People have paid upwards $400,000 to $1 million for their home, and you're trying to put a medical facility in a residential area. I am also complaining about the property values. If I paid a certain amount for my house and my property values are a certain amount, with a medical facility, I can't sell my house for what it should be sold for. I've been living in Southfield for 20 years, and I have worked very, very hard to stay there along with many other people to keep our neighborhood well. So that's just one of the 2 things I'm concerned about this parcel, because it really is a medical facility that's being tried to put there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bridget Marley.
Good evening. My name is Bridget Marley, and I'm a business owner in Southfield. I'm here today not to be disruptive, but to be responsible. Because what is happening in our country right now demands that ordinary people speak up with clarity and courage. Across the United States, ICE detention has expanded rapidly. We have over 60,000 people that are currently being held. 70% of them have no criminal convictions. 47 deaths have occurred of people in detention. So right now in 2026, that's one person dying every 6 days since January. We are seeing documented failures across the board, not just medical care, but human necessities, hygiene, food, and protection from abuse and harassment. These are not political talking points. These are human rights documented realities right here in our United States. So when agencies connected to the system enter our community, even in the form of legal offices like OPLA, we have a responsibility to ask, what are we allowing to take root in our city? So for me, showing up here is about accountability. We see what's happening, and just because it's not on the news every night like it was in Minnesota does not mean that it's not happening. We believe people when they say they've been harmed, and we are not going to look away. We are asking you as our elected leaders to stand with your community, because silence does not protect a community. Your leadership does. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron Fink?
Hello, I'm Cameron Fink. I'm a resident of Southfield. I'm here to talk about the OPLA office, that's the Lawyers for ICE, currently occupying one town square in Southfield. At a gathering in my synagogue over the weekend, speaking with people about the Lawyers for ICE working here in our town, I get a reaction that I often get. I thought the mayor stopped that. I thought the city stopped that. They're surprised that with Southfield's mayor, without South.
We'll follow up on your application for COSA.
Thank you.
I will defer your ask of a moratorium to our legislative committee. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, I spoke with the chief at Birmingham about this moratorium, and he's gonna keep us posted on how that's working for that, and we will discuss that in the
So that's an example of best practices, Ms. Robinson.
It's already done, they voted on it already.
Yeah, we understand that, but that's,
The meeting.
But it's a moratorium on everything.
right. We'll follow through on that,
We'll follow up and give it up. Ms. Savage, we will have more discussion on the zoning question that you had mentioned later on in this meeting. As far as for Mr. McWilliams, maybe before you leave, if you can talk to the director about your concerns on the streets that you mentioned, on Pennsylvania and surrounding.
Yeah.
Anything on this?
Could I just add that
Yes, sir.
we don't like the condition of a number of our streets, and we would fix them if we had the money. It's a matter of there's no money. That's why it's taken so long to get Mount Vernon done, and other streets. As we, I mean, road construction is just through the roof. So, I should share your concerns. I know I've spoken to you, but it would be fixed if we had the money.
It's a big
Your
hole.
timeline?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a different matter. but,
Right.
You know, any other, and our public works director is here. So, you can certainly report those, even to my office, if you have a bad pothole, I'll be glad to follow up. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd just like to state that the Neighborhood Services Committee a few years ago, we addressed the Airbnb situation. And there was an ordinance that was adopted with reference to Airbnb. So, I suggest someone talk to, Chuck Woodward, but I think it was last year we adopted, that the homes have.
Rental.
The rental inspection. So homes have to be registered, notices have to be put on the homes, and if not, people will get fined. So we do have something in place in Southfield.
But-
Yes, the Airbnbs.
So, council, thank you for the clarity on the ordinance. But I think what Ms. Robinson asked for was a moratorium.
Correct.
So that's what we have to get to the legislative committee to dig into that further.
A moratorium on the ordinance that exists?
On the number of
Well, just to be honest, I asked the police department to follow on because I'm not sure if that's possible, if that's gonna go through. We'll just see how that works out. That's why it's good to look at what other cities are doing, but we have to make sure that that works. You know, this just happened, so it doesn't mean, you know, that it's gonna be all that case. We can't just do that.
Madam Attorney?
So just to clarify, we have a rental ordinance. Within the rental ordinance, working with the building department, we also have a section that addresses short-term rentals, also known as Airbnbs. The Airbnb is the company. So when we go to legislative, then we will, discuss how do we take that portion of our rental ordinance. Because it's really what I've seen and heard about Birmingham, it's about the Airbnbs, which is the company, but what are Airbnbs? Short-term rentals. So that's what we put into our rental ordinance, and that's what we're discussing legislatively.
Right. Thank you.
And Mr. Jeffrey, I didn't forget about your item. When the petitioner comes, hopefully some of your questions will be addressed during that discussion. Moving on to items to be discussed. Bullet A, presentation and discussion regarding the proposal to rezone the parcel at 18940 West 8 Mile Road.
Is the petitioner here? There he is. Keep it off the mic. Good evening.
Evening, sir.
The petitioner is Southfield Signs LLC, and they're located at the corner of
8 miles to Halen.
Staheling. The existing zoning is light industrial, proposed zoning is I-1 industrial. We'd like to rezone from light industrial to construct a detached storage building along the north property line. If you can see, they have a number of outside vehicles and other signs that they've been cited by code. They'd like to be able to put that in the building. That's the gist of it. In order to do that, the current zoning has a 50-foot rear yard setback, but the industrial zone would allow them to build their building up against the rear portion of their property. So it's currently zoned light industrial. They do have, they are adjacent to industrial, and there's vehicular parking in a vacant lot to the north. And then there's a number of uses that are allowed in industrial, but a number of the grow processing, firearm sales establishments, crematoriums, sexually oriented businesses are not permitted because they're too close to residential districts. So they would not be allowed to develop if they get their rezoning. So here's again the site. This basically would allow them existing conditions. This is their building. This would allow them to build a storage facility about 40 by 152 feet, 20 feet tall, so they can store all their signs and vehicles in the rear, and it won't look like this. And in order to do that, they need to have the rezoning, because if they met the 50-foot setback, there would be not any room behind the building. So if you want to just talk a little bit about your business, how long you've been here, and why you're doing this.
Yeah, my name is Mose Tuna. I've been in Southfield since 2006. I've been in this building since 2017. We're basically a sign company. We manufacture and build signs and install signs for any type of small to medium-sized business. Sometimes we get signs and we have to sit on them for clients for 2 weeks to a month. so we have to store them outdoor because we really don't have any indoor storage at the facility, as we use most of it for manufacturing. Really, it's just, the building is just a storage building for us to clean up the lot and make it more presentable for us and to keep the product that we use out of the weather.
Did you have a picture of what the building was gonna look like?
The new building,
Yeah.
I
It's kind
have
of like
a simple sketch, yeah, from, I have a
we'll
simple
have that
sketch.
for the regular meeting on the 18th.
Okay.
So with that, council, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Pro Tem?
Can you go back to the picture of Baby John? Sorry. Can you explain, using that, how far it's gonna, is it
Yeah.
gonna be the entire back wall?
So it'll be the entire rear property, about 20 feet high, right?
20 feet tall, yes.
And I think there was a diagram. So 40 feet deep, 152 long, and 20 foot high. So that would be across the entire property, and it would still allow for access behind the building.
If approved, how long will it take for you to build it?
I'm hoping we can have it done by the fall.
Now, my last question would be, or statement, what's the question? We have your assurance that we won't see this stuff on the outside, because sometimes we'll have business owners come before us and they'll say that, like especially those that keep cars in their lots, gas stations.
Yeah.
And since you're taking out the entire back wall, we shouldn't see anyone out,
No.
correct?
Everything that's back there is literally used. We have 6 vehicles, 3 are trucks that are being used at all times. 3 are vans, and then 4 or 5 cars that are employees. The employees usually park on the west side of the building, right there towards the front. And then the back side is usually where we keep all our trucks, trailers for delivery and stuff like that.
But the materials.
Yeah, the
all
materials, all
should
that
be
stuff
gone.
will be gone.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Mr. Bright, Councilman Brightwell?
Would it be a separate building?
Yes, yes. It'd be
Okay.
like a storage building.
Okay.
It has to have a 3 feet of durable material, and then it'll be probably a metal panel
Yes.
building with slope
Like
roof.
a type A 4-pitch roof
Yeah.
on the top.
Okay. I'm assuming, and just so happen the assessor have to be here, I'm assuming that that will enhance that property a little bit more taxes, is that correct?
Yeah, it'll improve it slightly. The use and upgrades to the property can affect the effective age and increase the value of the building.
Okay, that's more taxes, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilman, any other questions? Thank you, sir.
So he'll come back on May 18th for your public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
If you could coordinate with Tom and get that
I'll
building
send this over.
elevation in there.
Okay, thank you.
Item B, presentation and discussion regarding the proposal to rezone and develop vacant parcel on the east side of Kiefer Street, south of Sergeant Drive.
So if you, sir, you could come up, do a briefing. So Carl Garrett, and this is his brother, because Carl had to be out of town.
Yeah, my brother had to be out of town on business. I'm his brother, Ivan Garrett, I'm the petitioner's brother.
So I'm going to do a brief introduction, and then we'll turn it over to the builder, Mr. Garrett. So Kiefer Street, oddly enough, is currently zoned light industrial, even though there's a number of single-family homes. And they're proposing RT attached single family, so they want to build a duplex with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett living on one and their daughter living on the other. And they want to construct a new two-family attached residential building on the vacant parcel east side of Kiefer Street. So if you could see, even though there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 single families, the majority of them are zoned light industrial. I don't even think the residents know that. And then this is the site that's large enough to actually have 2 single families on it, but they're all light industrial. We master planned it for moderate density single family because of the existing conditions. And we might propose a public benefit rezoning at a future date.
But this is the site, it's heavily wooded. This is what you can see facing northeast on Kiefer Street. This is the existing industrial building to the south of the site. And basically what they want to do is build a side-by-side ranch duplex setback to emulate the existing setback with the residential, and have 2 detached garages. Originally, they had a large concrete driveway in the front. We asked them to remove that just for environmental sustainability purposes. This is what the elevation looks like. The Planning Commission requested that they add a porch or some dormers on the front of the building to match a little closer to the single family on the west side of the street. This is their layout and their landscape plan, and they plan on keeping a substantial amount of the existing trees on the rear of the property that abuts the industrial on Telegraph. With that, if you want to introduce the builder and yourself and make any comments.
Good evening. My name is Ivan Garrett. I'm the brother of the petitioner, Carl Garrett. This is project manager Travis. He will be able to answer any questions that you may have for construction.
And if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Travis Extra, and I'll be the builder on the project.
And do you want a little talk about the construction and
Yeah, this is-
I asked for a square foot value and so forth?
Yeah, the square foot value on this is gonna be about $240 a square foot. It's gonna be just under 2,500 square foot total, so each unit is like 1,240 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 baths. It'll be built on a crawl space. This is a modular home. It is built exactly as you would a stick-built house today, 2x6 construction. It meets all Michigan codes. It's a BOCA-rated home. It's already licensed with the state of Michigan. So when it comes here, it comes on a trailer, gets lifted off a crane and put on the foundation. So the time frame for building the house is a lot less contractor traffic in and out of the property. Just a very quick process. So once the house is on the foundation, it's usually about 90 days and everything's complete. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to.
Mr. Mayor? Could you go back to the floor plans?
So they're 2 separate units. So they have their own entrance, they have their own garage. And they're both 2 bedrooms, correct? 3 bedrooms?
Yeah. Owners. Yeah, 3 bedroom, 2
So there's a master suite?
Yes, yeah, the owners.
Yeah, I didn't get enough. You went through. Okay.
And since this is less than 3 units attached, it comes to council for site plan approval as well. But they need the rezoning to do the RT. And again, as I said, an industrial development could happen on the site right now. And if it was subdivided, you could have 2 single-family units, so the density doesn't increase. But this is part of that missing middle housing that we've been working on, but this is all privately financed, it's market rate, and it's a family that wants to live side by side with their child, adult child, correct?
Yeah, and I don't know, you could speak, Carl's lived in Southfield for how long?
It'd be your niece then, right?
Yes, yes, that would be my niece. Yeah, my brother Carl, he been, him and his wife been in Southfield for over four and a half years. They reside at 27633 Lasher Road, apartment 117, in the Park Hills, in the Park House Senior Living Apartments.
Mr. Mayor, you all set? Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, that's all right, thank you.
Councilwoman Banks?
Thank you. There's sewer connection and everything in this area, is that correct?
Do you know Abdul? Kiefer Street, do they have public utilities?
Which street?
Kiefer?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 8 other homes on there, but, or, I didn't know if, so it has all public utilities.
And then you said the 8 other homes are all rezoned industrial.
They're all zoned industrial.
So are we going to correct that?
That's what I suggested, that we do a public benefit rezoning to residential. We could do that, we could petition the owners, and we could do it as a mass rezoning, we won't charge them a fee. We talked about that last week, and I would be surprised, they should have done their due diligence, but I'd be surprised the 1 or 2 residents that responded to us, I don't think they realize they're in an industrial district. I mean, if you drive down the street, it looks like it's a residential street. And they will be putting sidewalks in along their frontage.
Thank you.
Councilman Brightwell.
I'm just glad the assessor is here, they're not picking on it, just had to come up. So the taxing structure will change if you rezone, is that correctly?
Well, the taxing will change because they're constructing the house on it, it's vacant land. Not necessarily the rezoning, because it'll be used now as a residential home. It will be, the classification will be changed to residential. And it will be taxed as a homestead, or at least 50% of it.
I'm thinking about the current existing 8 families that are there. So the current family that's there is 8 homes. So they are used to a certain tax structure and a certain amount of taxes per year. So once we change this to residential, will it be up or down, or it just stay the same?
It'll stay the same.
Okay.
The zoning affects the marketability and the values of the houses ultimately, because if it has an industrial zoning and something happens, the highest and best use could not be residential. If it doesn't change to residential.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you're here.
Any other questions, council?
So,
I'm sorry.
May 18th is the public hearing? Okay. So you'll need to come back. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, presentation and discussion regarding the proposal to rezone vacant 70.52 acre parcel on Inkster Road between West 10 Mile and Geron to construct 3 one-story attached townhome buildings.
So this is a vacant wooded site on Easter, on the east side of Easter, between 10 and 11 Mile. Its current zoning is RE rural estate, which can, is a minimum 20,000 square foot per lot. And they would like to rezone this to residential unit development and construct 3 one-story townhomes. I believe they've reduced the number of units from 16 to 14 since last week. They have a maternity house and a community center. The site, as I indicated, is zoned RE single family. The site also has low density single family in the master plan. Now, we always ask for a parallel plan with residential unit development. So we asked the developer to lay out this under existing zoning, and they could build 14 single family lots on this parcel. And pretty much clear most of the wood lots in order to do this. So if they did a single cul-de-sac subdivision meeting the minimum requirements of RE, they could build 14 single family. And we use that to compare the density of what's being proposed. So here's the layout. You can see an area of the wood lots. There is a utility line that runs, almost bisects it from north to south, and then it angles off on the corner. This is their proposed 3 townhouse units, their maternity house and community center, and the oval on the bottom is their stormwater retention. This is what it looks like from street view. And then here is the layout showing existing trees. They have to do a tree survey. Any trees of 6 caliber inch or greater or meeting a certain standard has to be replaced 2 to 1, either planted on the site or they have to contribute to the tree trust fund. This is the floor plan of the community center, and the community center is basically the daycare for preschoolers, infants, toddlers, and then there's some community space and community room. And this is to service the unexpected mothers on the site. And this is what the elevations would look like. And then there's a maternity house, there'll be a caretaker's unit, and then up to 8 bedrooms for expected mothers, and more support until they deliver. And this is what that unit would look like. And then this is a typical floor plan of a 6-unit townhouse where there's independent living for unexpected mothers and children, if there are additional children, until they get up on their feet, but it gives them a little more independence. And there's the elevations. This is some renderings of what it would look like from Inkster and then in the interior of the development. So the scale is similar to houses around the area. And with that, I'm going to turn over to the doctor to talk about, you have a few slides here.
I do, thank you. I appreciate being here again. Again, we're currently, Mary's Mantle's located, thank you, at 25675 Farmbrook Road. And I'm Dr. Ken Kernan. I'm the Chief of Urology at Troy Beaumont. I'm a cancer surgeon, but my vocation is the board president of Mary's Mantle. We are a Catholic home for expectant mothers. We have been in partnership with the Archdiocese of Detroit, who, for these women who have nowhere else to turn, they are not necessarily homeless, but they do not have anywhere to turn. The mothers, there were a few points that came up at the last Planning Commission meeting, so as I go through this, I'll try to address all those. The mothers do not need to be Catholic. We accept women from all faiths, all denominations, etc. Make no mistake, this is not just housing. This is a structured, intentional programming for these women, focusing on accountability, stability, and success. We are actually changing these people's lives. We are not putting a Band-Aid on a problem. We were established in 2010. We have been your neighbors in the city of Southfield since then. One of the comments, or multiple comments the other night was, basically people just didn't want us in their backyard. We're already in your backyard. We've been there for 15 years. And in fact, one of the neighbors who is in our backyard came up and spoke about how wonderful we are as neighbors. And all of some of those concerns that we raised, he basically allayed. We've done a good job doing God's work for all this time. We've actually delivered almost 115 babies over these 15 years. We are not a business. We were accused of being a business. We are a faith-based pastoral service, really helping an underserved community. We must do more for these women than just putting a Band-Aid on, right? We talk about helping women and helping minorities and helping children. That's what we do every day, right? So we all talk about it, and I always say, when all's said and done, there's always more said than done. We're more done than said. We have a track record of 15 years of doing that. The moms, as Terry said, can live with us for up to 18 months to 2 years after they deliver. The nursery is really the community center. There was a question of people who are coming in using the community center. The community center is just for our residents and their mothers and the staff, and we also will have a chapel there, again, just for the residents of that area. Again, Terry talked about this, we'll have room for 6 to 8 moms at any time. There was concern about structure, right? How are these women, are they just living there and willy-nilly and unsupervised, right? They're required to be working in school or both. There is a personalized structural plan customized for each and every one of the women. All of the mothers have background checks. There is drug and alcohol screening, and it is a drug and alcohol-free environment. There are curfews of 9 p.m. during the week and 10 on weekends. Any parenting with the father occurs off-site, so that was a concern as well. We are staffed 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365. There is always someone there. We would also be happy to provide a gate or fencing if the city council so desired. Let's talk demographics. 75% of our women are African American, 20% are Caucasian, and then 5% are Latino. People said, oh, people come from Detroit, that's all where they come from. We don't want those, we don't want that problem here. That was said, 40% are from Oakland County, right here where we are. 35% were from Wayne County, 15% were from Macomb County, and 10% were outside those. The other question was security, safety, police reports, problems, etc. In 15 years of being in your backyard in our neighbor, there's been 0 police reports. There have been 0 complaints. So yes, we're going to be a little bit bigger. So if you multiply that out, you think there should be at least some problem in at least 4 or 5 years if we contract all those moms who lived in the area and made it the same size. Not one problem in 15 years. Full-time staffing, dedicated managers. They have to have a bachelor's or a master's degree. There's going to be one dedicated to the residents in the maternity home, 1 to 2 in the townhouses. Again, the approximate staff to talk to this gentleman is concerned, probably about 5 people at any one day. We have multiple people who work there, some of them are part-time, So they'll not all be there at the same time. There will most likely be a married couple in one of the townhouses as mentors for the moms that are transitioning. We are fully funded, right? So there was a concern about, are you gonna go out of business? We don't go out of business. We are fully funded. We have an incredible donor base, and every year we raise more and more money. There was a lot of talk about the environmental effect of our plan. So if we basically use the alternative plan versus 14 single-family homes, currently if we build our plan, there will be a 50-foot forestry border around the property. If we build the 14 homes, that goes away. So again, there was concerns about the townhouses versus single-family homes, et cetera. Townhouses basically reduce all that green space. So people were worried about the wildlife and the greenery, et cetera. In our plan, especially now that we've reduced it down to 14 townhouses, which again is the same as the 14 we could build, we're preserving almost 60% of the green space on that land, as opposed to probably about 10 to 15% if we do the 14 individual homes. Lighting proposal, there were some lighting concerns. Basically, we're all gonna have porch lights, the lights have gone down. Planning has looked at that. There will be some lighting for the main parking, but again, that's all in accordance with the city guidelines. The other thing is, we talked about the resident number. Again, our max number is probably gonna be about 25 to 30 at any one time. You know, depending on what source you read, it's 2.5 people per family house, 4 people per family house. Either way, we definitely will not be more than the 14 people, or 14 individual houses that could be there. There's also concern about property values. So we did some study with that, thanks to our team. A couple things. One, it's unrealistic for homeowners to think vacant land will never be developed, right? I mean, we all like that, right? It'd be great. I like living next to a forest. It's gonna be that way forever. It's just not the case. So the current owner, Mr. Nager, is a wonderful man. You've all known him. He's been here trying to build way bigger things on this piece of property for a long time and never has really succeeded. So I was telling to some of the people who were talking at Planning Commission, we're your best option. We're quiet. You'll never know. One of the renderings is you drive by, there'll be a driveway and a forest. That's it. You will not even know we're there. There is a halo effect though, right? Because people have said, oh, I'm worried about my property values, which I understand. But in an area like this, and I can share this with everybody, basically this roughly $12 million project will probably increase property values roughly 10% in the area. And there's plenty of data to show that this halo effect is real on new projects. And again, I can provide all that data for you. So in summary, because I'm a geek, I read your 299-page Sustainable Southfield 2.0 master plan from 2023 to 2028, as well as the lovely 80-page new 2025 strategic master plan, which was adopted May 9th of 2025. Our proposal is your proposal. We fit in all of your areas that you want to do. That's what we do every day. And I read all of the mission statements, fire, police, minority, everything that's out there, and I would amalgamate it into, as you say, Southfield is a city for all and a place for everyone. We are a perfect fit for you. We just need you to be courageous and let us expand. Because this is what needs to be done without a Band-Aid. We are fixing people's lives. And again, I think we need to stand up for women's rights, minorities, education, all the things we all talk about. Someone's got to be able to do it, and that's what we do every day. Thank you.
Council, any questions? Councilwoman Bland?
Doctor, why don't you stay up there for questions?
Sure.
I'll take the clicker.
A couple of things.
Sure.
The first thing, thank you for being an oncologist. It's not an easy job. I applaud him. My mom is a breast cancer survivor.
Right.
I also went on your site and I took a look. So there's a couple of things that you did say that are substantial. You have consistent financial summaries. There's a great job of actually documenting your money. You have a nice stream of revenue that comes in consistently. And I applaud the work. My question is, what other communities did you consider other than Southfield, or have you been to other communities in this situation, planning commission, things like that, or were we your only consideration?
Great choice. So a couple things. Number one, we've been your neighbor for 15 years. We've been here, so we like Southfield. Southfield likes us, we hope. we looked at downtown Detroit. There's a percentage of moms that come from Detroit. It's probably good to get them away from some of those settings that they come from. We also looked at property in Ortonville and Grand Blanc and way up in the boonies. I don't want to lose my great staff. These people are amazing. Katie Montes, our director, who's been with us for over 10 years, is unbelievable. All the success we have is from Katie. Katie, raise your hand back there. So I don't want to lose any of these people, so that was a concern for us. We did look at the city of Livonia. I have a great team of Jason and Scott who are building consultants and in real estate. We spent basically 2 months looking for sites. We looked at actually 2 other sites in Southfield. One, we were told, don't bother, no one will ever let you build there. That was actually just down the street from us in Farmbrook. And then the second one we looked at was across the street from Northwestern Highway, and it was very nice, but it turned out it was kind of a swamp. So that didn't work out too well either. So we really have looked at multiple properties. This has been a 2-year journey since I came to Mary's Mantle and had this idea of we need to step up our game.
You spoke about other maternity spaces, communities, the statistics surrounding them. I guess my question is, how long do they normally last in a community? Is it sustainable?
So no one's really done this that we want to do yet.
Okay.
There are, if you look at, there's a lot of people doing a little piece of it. There's a mother house, there's a community center, there's a nursery, there's some transition housing. We really looked at the model. If you look at the model from Alcoholics Anonymous with sober living, it's community living. And it's the community living that really changes people. So I look at the maternity house as rehab, if you want, right? They're a place to breathe, a place to grow, have their baby, it's safe. And then they can transition into the transition housing, and that will solidify their change. Again, they have to go to school or they have to be working. So our plan is, when they're done, because they're gonna love the city of Southfield, because a fair amount of our moms relocate in Southfield and stay here, a large percentage of those women will stay here, hopefully buy homes, rent, etc. So that will, will solve that problem and bring a tax base to the city.
Thank you.
Council, Mr. Mayor?
Should I maybe direct this to the administrator, should the council decide to approve this, would this qualify for a pilot ordinance?
I need to know more about their financing to answer that.
Okay.
A pilot of payment taxes, it's usually based on a percentage of the rent.
By the way, listen, we understand that you look at us as a charity and we're not a tax base. I went on your website, I went on Dr. Google's, which people go on to look about, to tell me how to do cancer, they go on Google, right? So I was guilty of that when it comes to this. I think there's about 1,000 charities in the city of Southfield that call it home, right? Depending on what site you believe. I think they're all, they're not paying taxes. But if you said, hey, we'll build this, we need to pay taxes, so 14 homes, 1.5% on a home, average home is probably, you're paying $3,500 in tax a year, multiply that, it's 50 grand a year. You want us to pay $500,000 for the next 10 years? I'll find the money. I don't care. It's God's will, it's God's bill, but this is the right thing to do.
I'm sorry, but can you answer a question? He never answered your question.
Excuse me.
I know it's not an open forum, but he did, I just want information. He didn't answer her question. She said, did he look at other places?
Sir,
And
sir,
yes, he didn't answer
she
the
can follow
question.
up if she feels that he didn't answer.
Because I heard Livonia, and what happened to Livonia?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. I'm sorry, I probably wasn't loud enough, I apologize. We looked at Detroit, we looked at Oxford, we looked at local areas that we didn't have to lose our staff, like Southfield, I'm sorry, not like Southfield, like Livonia, some of the around surrounding areas, Franklin, Farmington. Frankly, we couldn't find a plot that existed. It was really by the grace of God that Mr. Nager's property came up for us. It's really the perfect property.
And you will lose your staff because of the commute?
Yeah, I mean, our people live, most of our staff lives in or around Southfield, so if I move them an hour north or an hour south, the likelihood is those people aren't going to follow us.
The longest 10 years.
Councilwoman.
I'm finished, yes.
Councilwoman Banks?
Thank you. So they will not be paying taxes on this property, or they will?
Well, we're just dealing with the zoning. They are not-for-profit, and I'll let Justin, the city assessor,
They
discuss
would
it.
have to apply and qualify, so they'd have to, meet They have to own and occupy the property, be a charitable institution, and then meet the 6 Blacksburg factors.
So based on what he said, would that exempt them from paying taxes?
It may, they would have to apply, they'd have to look at the articles of incorporation, their IRS filings.
And you probably could just check us, our stuff for the last 15 years in Southfield.
Are you associated with Archdiocese?
So presently, do you know how much this property is assessed at, or what they're paying?
It's probably a small value, compared to what would be, I don't know what the land value is offhand.
Can you get that information to us before the next meeting?
I did request that information before the 18th, and Justin said he's working on it.
Okay, well, if we could have it before the meeting, not the night of the meeting, I would appreciate it. Number 2, we talked about 76 parking spaces. Why are there so many parking spaces?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I believe that's city ordinance for this size.
However, with the RUDD, we can reduce the number.
Beautiful.
You just have to provide some justification for reducing the number of parking.
Awesome.
That parking might be just based on standard
Right.
residential bedroom size.
Perfect.
but-
And I think that's what our architect drew. We'd be happy to reduce that size, man.
And that's something we can incorporate into the development.
And we can reduce it down to approximately?
We can
How many-
reduce it to what's realistic. And
Which
so
is?
I do is I look at Traffic Engineer Institute, I look at other similar types of uses, I look at what the needs are, and then we come up with a factor of what's reasonable. We don't want to go too low, but the RUDD gives us the flexibility to reduce from what the current standards are. They are just working off of a straight interpretation of what the parking is for residential of this size.
Can we have that information next week?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then, what was the planning commission's recommendation?
It was 2-2. There was a motion to approve. It failed for lack of support. We only had 4 commissioners. Two were sick at the last minute. So there's no formal recommendation because there was a lack of support for the motion in favor.
Thank you. And then last question, you say you're already in our backyard?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, where are you located now?
Yep, we're on Farmbrook Road, right off of 12 Mile and Telegraph. And we've been in Southfield our entire time. I think we've been at this location for around 11 or 12 years.
So are you in a single-family home? Or is it a single-family property?
Yes.
So it's just, it's a house?
It's a
Kind of
house.
Not, it's a group home, not a
Yeah.
group home, but
It's just one big house.
one big house? Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
And we've actually thought about, depending on how this goes, building 14 houses there, keeping the mother house, and it'll just be, but it won't be the same. It's not a community and we'll destroy more wildlife and all that. So this just fits better.
I did look up the taxes, they pay about $3,100 a year.
Vacant lot.
Councilwoman Banks, you all set?
Thank you, yes.
Councilman Brightwell?
Terry, initially, when you first started, you indicated they were associated with the Archdiocese?
Yes.
So, does that mean that they will fall under the umbrella of?
We are not. We have what we would call an imprimatur from the Archdiocese, which basically is their blessing that we are, function under their general philosophy of Catholicism, right? But again, our moms do not need to be Catholic. They can be any denomination, and most actually are not Catholic.
Okay. And
Like, it's almost like going to a Catholic hospital. You don't have to be Catholic when you get checked in at the hospital.
okay. One other, I'm not sure this was brought up, as for security in that environment, what are the arrangements for security in that?
It's a great question. So again, if you look at us, we are unfenced currently, and we've had basically a full house for 15 years. Again, we've had 0 police incidences. If the city said, we want you to put a fence around it, we'll put a fence around it. If you said, we want to have a gate, we'll have a gate. And we're very amenable to either one of those things. But again, because of our
Living
structure.
there.
I'm sorry?
You have somebody living.
Yes, there will be a couple that basically are the mentors that will be living in one of our townhouses. So technically, it's 14 townhouses, but one of them will be occupied by permanent residents.
And you have security cameras on the main?
Correct. And we have security cameras everywhere.
Yeah, so we could have a gate added to the front entrance. If you start requiring fencing, we gotta remove trees in order to put that fencing up. So there's a balance that we're trying to do. You've got a 50-foot buffer. We did talk about maybe the outdoor play area being fenced in and certain other things, but to put a fence around 7.5 acres, you're gonna do more harm than good.
Okay.
No, one final. Is this required to have the crime prevention review?
I'm sorry?
Is this required to have a crime prevention review by the police?
The police department's crime prevention bureau weighs in on all of these developments.
Okay, so we will get that read out.
That's right, and they will even meet with the applicant, should this go forward, to talk about a crime prevention and security plan.
Oh, all right, thank you.
Councilwoman Haynes?
Can you speak to the success of your program that you currently have?
Well, I would probably defer to Katie Montes about that, who is our day-to-day operations. But if you look at the success of our mothers, probably one of the, we've had tremendous success changing lives. I think we could do better because once they have the baby, we do send them back to wherever sometimes they came from, which is not ideal. We've had moms go on to, there was a mom from Oakland County in a nice area, came home one day and said, hey, you don't come back unless you have an abortion. Found us, had the baby, finished school, became a social worker. That is a lot of the path that we're taking. Successful, we've had women become successful realtors, really almost in every industry. Have there been struggles with some moms? Of course there are. And again, I think building this community the way it's going to be built, those numbers will go up and will really change lives.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, two other things. So you said you didn't have any police runs. What about EMS runs?
Oh, that's a great question. Katie, we had any EMS runs? We probably had, just because, come on up, Katie. This is Katie Montes, our executive director. She's the brains of the entire operation.
My name is Katie Montes, thank you. So in regards to EMS, I remember 2 occasions. One was a close call on delivering a baby. I think there were some comments about running a medical facility. We are not a medical facility. We do not deliver babies. So there was a close call on mom thinking she was going into labor. We did call EMS for that. And the other time was actually for myself. I was having a medical situation at work and we had to call EMS. So other than that, to my knowledge, there's been 2.
So the babies are not born on the property?
Absolutely not. So we use.
I think that's important for everybody to know.
Yes. We employ no medical staff at Mary's Mantle.
I'm as close as they get.
All right. And then the other suggestion I have a thing about too much parking, too much hard surfaces, these rainstorms we have. So I know in other occasions we've land banked parking so that if maybe there was some change or need for additional parking, it was land banked, it was left as grass.
We certainly could do that, and I'll personally review the parking plan.
I mean, I know you hear about 76 spaces.
Well, that's just the formula that's required.
I can just see it.
It's based on square footage of the maternity house, the office house, and the residential.
I get it. I think for another day, we should have a further discussion about our parking requirements. Not tonight.
And again, though, there is provisions where it doesn't make sense that I can review best practices.
Councilman Vanderbilt?
Question for Gary. You said it was 2-2 at the planning commission. What were the no votes? Did they give a reason, or we don't know?
No reason.
Why?
I mean, there was 20 people that spoke. 19 were against and 1 were in favor. I think that had a lot to do with the way they voted, but they didn't give a reason, and I don't want to guess why they voted that way. I just know that we did not have a full body, and there was a motion to approve, but it failed 2-2.
So then, we received a few emails from our concerned about property values and.
Well, wait, I have him here.
So can you, Justin, can you will this project, should it go forward, reduce property values in the
I
neighborhood?
would say it would not reduce property values. I don't think it's enough of a nuisance or a deterrent for people to actively either not purchase a home or offer decreased values, but it really doesn't present external obsolescence.
I would say if you look at the aerial, and again, I respect everybody that lives around there. It's a big investment. But a lot of people live on large lots, and so houses on Ormond, there are deep setbacks. There are 2 houses immediately adjacent to the perimeter of Inkster, but a number of the other residents that came and spoke, and we looked up where everybody lives. There's a significant spacing and woodlands between. It's not on top of everybody. And the 50-foot buffer of woodlands is the goal of what the RUDD is, to try to preserve natural features. I mean, the doctor mentioned 60% green space. If you crunch the numbers, any tree that gets removed has to be replaced 2 to 1. We can do a lot of planting on the front side. I mean, the goal is that when you drive by, you hardly will notice that this is there. I'm trying to address all the issues of some of the emails. Stormwater, this is not a regulated wetland. It is a regulated woodland, and we have a woodlands ordinance. Stormwater has to be managed through the Oakland County Stormwater, the city engineer, and they have provided for retention on-site detention. Lighting has to be shielded, directed downward. It's got to be 0-foot candles or 1/2 of a foot candle at the perimeter. But if you think about a 50-foot buffer of trees, it's going to be negligible. Certainly there will be more lighting than there is now because it's vacant. Traffic, I've said it, single-family unit generates 9.55 traffic trips per day. So if there's 14 units times 9.55, multifamily is usually around 5.87 trips per day. And in this particular case, many of the expected mothers will probably not even have their own car, or they do carpooling with a van. So as far as traffic and trips per day, I don't really see that as an issue. They will be providing a sidewalk along the frontage, and I was surprised when I went out there today. Actually, up by Oxford, there is a sidewalk. So there'll just be a small gap in the sidewalk system that can be built out over time as development takes place. And at some point, if the city and Farmington redoes Inkster Road, we would hopefully fill in those gaps. We talked about property values. Wildlife, that's an issue. We have a wildlife commission, but we don't regulate wildlife per se. We don't have a zoning ordinance that says you gotta protect X amount. Everybody enjoys wildlife. But we also have had a number of issues with deer car accidents, and we had to have a cull. And I know that was controversial, but I think there's going to still be a substantial amount of green space, and with the large lots in the surrounding area, and we have Carpenter Lake just to the south, there's still going to be a lot of habitat for wildlife. So I don't see this one development drastically changing.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Haynes? I don't remember my question. It was next one.
Councilman Barnwell and Councilwoman Banks.
Terry answered my question. You did about stormwater runoff, so you answered that question.
So again, the general rule is you cannot shed more water than at the agricultural rate. So if water's shedding at vacant land, that water can't be increased. And they have a detention pond on site that will collect the stormwater and regulate it at the agricultural rate. And we have stringent Oakland County standards on stormwater that will be reviewed by our city engineer.
Councilwoman Hayes and Councilwoman Banks.
Your current place is off of Farm Road. That's right by Telegraph, right?
Yes, ma'am.
If I'm not mistaken, there was some new housing development over there.
Correct.
The property value on those houses, do you have any idea?
And actually, right next door to us, they're building a new house. So
I think
we-
it was about 3,000 square feet and maybe about $300,000-$400,000. I'm not for sure the exact amount, but so there has been no decrease in property value. And I think anything that's built on that street is on Farm Road?
Not on Farm.
Now, Congo, there's a new house.
There has not been increase in property
But that's what I'm saying, not a decrease in property.
I'm agreeing with you.
Right, because I looked at a house over there a long, long time ago, and since then, I'm just trying to make a point here in the sense of saying that there has not been a decrease since you have been there.
Correct, I mean, our
Yeah.
property value has gone up considerably since we bought it 10 years ago, so.
And just to say too, I mean, I live over in the area, there's not been a decrease in deer either, so. I can guarantee if you want some, we'll send them your way for the people that are missing them, trust me, they,
And again, I think it's important to know, the alternative plan is, we could just build 14 homes, right? But then, it does, the actual opposite of all the things we're trying to all do is, you know, both as Mary's Mantle and you as the city, with preserving wildlife, greenery, et cetera.
Good. Councilwoman Banks?
Terry, is it Oxford Street up there? Is that where the new, I shouldn't say new homes, they're
Yeah,
probably
this
10
is,
years old?
this is
That's that new
the
subdivision?
cluster option, very nice
Okay,
homes.
very nice
They're
homes.
probably in the $500,000 range,
Yeah.
up or down.
Yes.
But you can see there's Joran subdivision in between them, and then there's, this is a wooded lot, that's a protected woodlands, this is a vacant lot, there is one house here, and then you have the 7.5 acres. So I drove there again today to try to see what I drove around the perimeter to try to see what would be visible, and again, we're gonna keep a 50-foot minimum buffer of woodlands, and not including the depth of these lots here on Ormond. There is a house here and here, but we're gonna try to keep that frontage in a state of green, natural environment. And we'll work with, if this goes through, work with the developers to plant some of the replacement trees up front. Because you don't want the visibility.
No, we'd like you to drive by, and it'll look just like it does today, except a driveway.
And you can't build 50 homes in that little square, can you?
No,
No.
there's.
Is it 50 homes?
No.
No, Mr. Nature tried to do that, I think.
No.
14, but Mr. Nature had come with a proposal to
Yes.
build 2 and 3 times the density there.
Right, but I think you turned that down.
We did.
Yes, you know, that's like too many homes there.
Yeah.
But we could build 14.
This is the parallel plan that just under a similar cul-de-sac development, like up in Oxford, just a little bit smaller, this one could be built.
Right, and the buffer goes away with the trees, et cetera.
The trees would still be protected under woodland ordinance, but there would be nothing preventing them clearing to the property line if they replace the trees.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So they'll come back on the 18th for a public hearing.
Great, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Item D, the discussion regarding zoning ordinance text amendment.
Yes, this is just to bring the zoning ordinance in line with the city code regarding unattended election bins. So the council previously moved this regulatory section into the building code, the city code, and it's under the auspice of the building department.
Excuse me, still in the meeting. Thank you.
So this is just to remove it from the zoning ordinance because it's already been adopted in the general code of ordinances and it's being overseen by the building department. So the all the regulatory requirements that would change. It's just we're removing.
I'm shaking hands, I'm not your friend.
It's just removing it from the zoning ordinance. So it's hopefully a simple text amendment by deleting a section that is no longer valid.
Council, any questions? Item E, Crohn's and Colitis Foundation Michigan Chapter request for use of the Donald F. Wakasi Municipal Campus Runway and Walk.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, and if I could call up Emma, if she's still here. Emma Mantha is from the Friends of the Clients Foundation. She might be out the hall. Parks and Recreation is bringing this item to you whenever we have an outside entity who would like to partner with the city and use the front lawn, we ask for your approval for that. This event is for June 5th and 6th, which is a Friday and Saturday. Don't let the latest come in, set up, work with our police department to help with security, and then their event is Saturday. Starts at 10 o'clock and it ends, and they're cleaned up by 3. One thing that they bring in is a unit of bathrooms. Crohn's and colitis wants to make it easy for folks during the event, and so it's actually, oh, come on up. Oh, no, you're fine.
Use the
You're
mic, Terry.
you're perfect timing. No, right at that microphone right there. Yeah.
I was safer in the back.
Yeah. That's perfect timing. This is Emma Mantha from Crohn's and colitis. So what they do is they bring in a bank of restrooms. So if it's really warm outside, it's air conditioned, and if it's cold, it's heated. So they make it comfortable for folks. They brought in anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 folks. I think I was going to talk to you a little bit about their history. And then they work with Cam, our supervisor for the front lawn. And we have minimal costs, minimal staffing costs. And like I said, we provide them some trash cans, and they bring their own equipment in and have a really nice event. I know the mayor's been part of it before and has spoken. So with that said, Emma, if you want to add anything to that, we'd be happy to hear you.
Yeah, so the Take Steps Walk is over 20 years old by now. This will be, I believe, our 5th year with the Southfield City Center. We've been exceptionally grateful for your partnership in the past. We've worked closely with Cam and Terry Fields here. We're very grateful for that support. Terry Crode as well, and Mayor Cyber, we always appreciate you saying a few words, opening up the ceremony for us. So there are over 100,000 patients in Michigan that are patients of IBD that we support. Our fundraising directly supports our research and awareness initiatives. We fund programs in Michigan for education for children, adult patients as well. We run a wonderful camp program that this fundraising helps to support, giving education and confidence boosting to over 100 children in the area. So it's a very impactful day. Last year, we raised a record-breaking amount for this walk. We were really excited to raise over $200,000 for Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, individuals living with IBD. And we had a lot of really, really great feedback from the event last year, the way it was organized. I think that we may have been the first event to run when the path was put in. I think it wrapped up, the construction wrapped up maybe a week before our walk, and a lot of people were happy about the path. We actually used it as our start line. And we're very grateful to the Southfield Police Department as well for helping us to barricade and helping direct our walkers safely throughout the walk route. And we would be very, very excited to be hosting our event again this year.
Council, any questions? Mr. Mayor?
I've attended every year. It's a great cause, and they bring everything into the city. And how many years ago, they moved to Southfield? They were another city, and they moved their headquarters. So they're one of our constituents.
Yeah, previously the foundation was, and we're the Michigan chapter, so we are a national foundation, but there's 5 of us that work in Michigan, so we're a lean but strong team. Previously, before I worked here, the office was in Madison Heights, and we moved. We actually are right across the street in the Travelers Tower there. So it's always convenient and very nice for us to be able to just bring our stuff across the street and set up for the day. And our constituents definitely love that Southfield is very central for them. We have people who do come from a lot of different cities around Southeast Michigan. Some people travel all the way from Ann Arbor just to attend this event. So we love being a part of Southfield, especially our office in general.
The Crohn's and colitis are a great group. They have a lot of volunteers there. I'd say their customer service was a big plus because they have so many people in the front line helping direct some traffic. And I do need to say too, history-wise, the planning department worked with Crohn's and colitis to set this, to set the track up, so to speak, the race area. Very safe. We've had other organizations who have come to use that as well. So there's a little bit of history here, so it's been great working with them so far. So can't imagine it being any different in the future.
Could I make a comment too? Yeah, the city, Southfield City Center's been a proud sponsor and continues to sponsor them year in and year out. And to your point, they bring in people from Southeast Michigan, I think some from Ohio.
Yes.
At one point, and it gives great exposure. So they walk our route, they see our placemaking, and then they spend their money in our local shops and restaurants. So we're always glad, one of the best run organizations that come into the city. So we're happy, proud to have them continue being here.
Thank you.
And they moved to Southfield too for the walk from Royal Oak.
Royal Oak, yeah. Good job, Mayor.
Councilman Roywell and Councilwoman Hayes.
I'm familiar with it, just so happened. And all the thing I asked, what is it? Well, anyway, the last time I was here, a resident came up to me and asked, what is this? So I had to go get a medical definition of what it is. But what's the time frame? What's the time frame? The timing?
So the event would be set up on June 5th, Friday. We have the tent company that comes to set up that day, starting mid-morning-ish, and then we have volunteers who are coming to help us set up the event, and then the actual event itself begins at 10 a.m. We'll be there early on Saturday, June 6th. But the event begins and opens to the public at 10 a.m. It is free for anyone to attend, by the way. Completely public event. We would never want cost to be a barrier to a patient becoming part of the community. And we run until about, we have a program at 11:30, and then around noon, the walkers go and they walk the route around the city, and then they come back, and we're pretty much clearing out at that point, anywhere around 2 o'clock typically.
Yeah, in your packet is.
Councilwoman Hayes.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to kind of brag on the city attorney I went last year, and she had an entire team there.
Yes,
So-
she did.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's a really nice event to do this, so if anybody wants to bring a team along.
I probably
to
know
support
where that
the
came
cause. I mean, it was really nice, and
Thank you.
we had some little fun events there too. So, you know, I have a family member that had the condition, so totally understand, and just to have it in our community, very grateful to have that. And it did bring a lot of people that don't normally come here, so that's a great thing. We welcome you, glad you're still here.
If council's okay with it, because this is in a month, I'd like to make a Rule 10.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag for Rule 10. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the use of the front lawn for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of Michigan.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Item F, Identity and Access Management Contract.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Looking to get into a 3-year agreement with Accenture for this contract. We renew this contract every year currently. If we go into a 3-year agreement, we get like $3,000 per year locked off for that term. So a total of $9,000 we save over the life of the 3 years for this contract that we already renew every year anyways.
When's your contract expire?
It actually expires mid-month. I mean, I can let it sit for next, or you can rule it down. Okay.
Councilman, any questions? I'm sorry, Rita?
Yeah.
Any questions?
All right, Count.
I got you. They couldn't hear. But go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for Rule 10.
Support.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. It for Rule 10, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Identity and Access Management Software Contract as presented.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. Any questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I get it right. G, proposed ordinance amendment for garage sales.
Council President, can I make a request? Can I switch G with H? Because we do have council, okay, you just went to go grab it here, but, for, this is regarding the Baco restaurant.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you meant to go grab the attorney Nance.
Kelly Ellen.
Kelly Ellen.
Kelly Ellen.
Yeah,
Right
she's
here.
coming back, but, I can give the introduction.
Well, wait, so, Ms. Robinson, item D was the one we talked about the bins. That's what D was.
It was about the beans.
Right.
Yeah.
You skipped that one?
No, we
They
went
didn't
to
approve
it.
Are you counting?
No, we just talked about it.
There was no vote.
There's no vote.
Oh, no, that's right, this one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
She might have thought she could speak.
How you doing, man? You ready?
Look, so I'll give an introduction. Everyone's familiar with Baco that has been in Southfield, and back in 2023, it came before the city council. The original building had been demolished, but it's gonna be renovated. The location is 29410 Northwestern Highway. The project's gonna have a cigar club on the old site. There'll be a cigar, and I probably have to get this right. The restaurant, the private club, cigar bar, cigar lounge and bar. And when they came to council in 23, the site plan was approved allowing the smoking lounge with the bar, and cigar lounge comes under smoking lounge. The zoning ordinance was amended for that project, but we also had, just like the bins, where we take it out of the zoning, we put it under the regulatory. And so we didn't do that when the zoning text amendment was approved back in 2023. Ms. Allen, she's worked with the city for years, and she reached out to me because as they get ready to start this project, they want to make sure that they're complying with all of the ordinances. So with that, I don't know if council members just hear from them, but working with them, I did make the change. And if it's a consensus to move it, I'll bring it back to the next regular meeting for introduction and approval. With that, I
Thank you, Ms. King. I'm Kelly Allen here tonight with Luciano Del Signore, his wife Nicole. And you're very familiar with the project, have been for years, and it's just, we had to match up the zoning ordinance to the regulatory ordinance to primarily allow alcohol at the site. Because of we have no lights. It's me.
There's a weather situation.
So, Dawn worked with us to amend that language, or the smoking lounge is defined as something without alcohol. There are other criteria it has to meet, but in order to have it match the ordinance and allow alcohol at this fine dining restaurant, we ask that the ordinance be changed.
Council, any questions on this item?
Who was discussed at legislative at length?
So,
next Monday.
thank you very much, ma'am. So, Don, you want to go to G now?
Oh, yes, June, and I will bring this for the, I guess what we call the first meeting next Monday. Okay, the garage sale, so we talked about this at legislative, and there's a consensus that the whole council discuss this. In this particular ordinance, currently, our ordinance reads, two garage sales can be held by a resident property owner per year. It has to be 6 months between each sale. We've discussed bringing it up to 3, and we also included estate sales in the definition.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
So it's for discussion, and I'll just present it that way. Turn it over to council.
Council, do you all have any questions? Are there,
So it's three a year? Okay, I'm sorry, I got confused.
Councilwoman Banks?
So we're saying that there'll be no more than 3 permits per year, that additional permit is because of the 1 free week? Because right now we allow,
No, does not include it, and the reason thinking was that someone could basically just do an entire month of the sales at their home.
okay, I thought I read in here, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you can only hold a garage sale once every 6 months. Is that correct?
That's what it currently says now.
I'm sorry.
So we're moving to no more than 3 permits each calendar.
Okay, so you could have 3 weekends in a row?
Yes, for if you include the free weekend.
So that's 4 weekends in a row. So if you live next to a person who is a hoarder and has garage sale, no, there's people in the city, they go around collecting stuff and then hold garage sales and sell it. You don't think the neighbors are gonna be upset about that?
Well, that's why I brought it here for discussion, as we were discussing it legislative, it was a consensus to let the whole council, because as we're discussing it now, someone may see it differently, and instead of, getting it set, we decided to bring it to the whole council.
In fact, we used to have a house on 9 Mile Road where, was it 9? Yeah, 9 Mile Road, where it was that situation. They were having garage sales, almost every other week. And even with the ordinance, they were always going and shutting them down. And I believe those people still reside at that location.
And how you can still reside in a city that is still good?
Well,
Councilwoman Banks.
Well, I mean, if there's people in the city that are still doing it, code enforcement should be contacted to, or code should be aware, okay, let me, phrase this. Code enforcement used to come to the city clerk's office every week, collect who was having garage sales, and then go out and search the area for those that were licensed and were not licensed. And if they were not licensed, they had to come in and either get a permit or told they've already held a license, the garage sale. So I don't know if that's still going on or what. Can anyone answer that question?
That's the clerk's division.
Well,
I could only speak to the fact that code enforcement has not come by asking that question.
So I guess my question is, why did code enforcement stop that?
I can't answer the immediate question, but I will tell you tomorrow's staff meeting, it will be discussed, asked, and a practice put in place, and we'll ask them to document a standard operating procedure. And working with the clerk's office, some frequency, once a month, or once a week, we were checking it out, so.
I think they used to come in Thursday or Fridays to get the list from the book.
People know that they can do stuff on the weekend that they can't do throughout the week.
And we'll work to get something that feeds electronically too.
Right.
And there's one other thing, it's just that when we, every year we change the color of our garage sale signs, but I'm noticing people are using their old signs. So that, if I'm seeing it, I don't know why code enforcement or other people in the city are not seeing it. They should not be using those signs, they're expired. There's another thing to address.
Councilwoman Banks, we did discuss what you stated about someone being able to have 3 to 4 if you use the free garage sale. But in our discussion, we also felt that's why we wanted to bring it here for a discussion, because we also felt some may say, well, we'd rather they get it over with than spread it out. So we thought it was kind of pros and cons on both sides. So we did speak about that. That was a concern. But again, at that point, we just said, let's bring it here and make sure we all vote on it and discuss it and talk about it. But we certainly did bring that up, and we just felt there's gonna be some who say, hey, let them get it over, get their 3 weeks in, and then they're done. We don't have to see that mess throughout the whole summer. So we talked about that.
And then what about the subdivisions that are having garage sales? Does that make them like number 5? And the only reason I'm saying it is we just had a notice put on our door that our subdivision is having it the first week in June, and I'm like, usually they have it when it's the free weekend. So, huh?
Do we allow neighborhoods to have their own?
I thought it was only during the free
Well, the neighborhood is doing it now. I think you have to register.
Yeah.
And if my memory is correct, they probably register your address and they go to the clerk's office. But I'm not trying to squeal on my neighbors, but I don't think that was done last year.
That adds a whole.
No, I'm being honest.
That adds a whole new thing, because we didn't discuss that. We didn't
And-
discuss that.
And
Well, I
just
think that
FYI,
was going on.
we had 2 neighbors in our subdivision, and if someone's here from my neighborhood, I'm sorry. They had been collecting stuff all year round, and their garage was just stuffed. And it was all the way out to the street, so I don't wanna see that in my subdivision and to keep going on. So now, these people are gonna be allowed to have, I don't know, will that make it 5, 3, plus the free one, 4, plus the subdivision 5, I don't know.
We don't have a subdivision.
I
So
thought it was
it's
that
the board.
neighbors get together and decide they're all gonna have a garage sale in the same week. It wasn't a subdivision thing. I thought it, because everybody still has to get their own personal permit. So it's just a subdivision, like, you got the letter, and that means that everybody in your neighborhood has to get their own permit.
Well, maybe they're, I didn't read it carefully, maybe they're getting the permit on
Right.
behalf of the
I
people,
wouldn't have
but.
a problem with that, because, you know, it's something that they're coming together. I
There's
mean,
more traffic.
yeah, I asked my neighbors to do that, because you wanna bring more people in as opposed to, when you have 10 people in the street selling, it's better than one person, because some people pass by your house, see a little bit of something and leave because they think they may not want it. But if it's a subdivision, it's each person have their own permit, you put the notice out, and it is fine. I don't think we need to go into.
I was gonna say,
should add this in
I
here?
was just going to say, we can add language to say that subdivision garage sales are counted in the 4. Either they have to all
Okay.
apply, or they
Yes.
have to have it scheduled on the free. So we'll add that language.
That's.
Because we didn't think about
We
that.
didn't
Yeah,
do that.
no.
Never do it.
And I wouldn't have
So
thought
they-
about it either if they didn't put that sign out there the other day.
So, Madam Attorney, can we add that
During the free week.
language? If we can bring this one back.
Yeah, because I was just gonna show you, I printed out Berkeley, and they actually have a block sale permit. That may be something must be
Okay.
added, because then you list
Right.
everyone's addresses, and
Very
then.
good, you'll know who else that.
So we can include that as a form too, but it still only counts as the 4. You don't get a 50, right?
That's right. And one of the
But you
things,
use that form.
that would be great.
That's great, Madam Attorney.
And one of the things we can add to code enforcement, because I'm just saying, I notice it every weekend. The traffic picks up for signs that are not allowed and not permitted in this city. I have a person that I know personally, puts their sign out on Friday for their business, and they told me they come back and pick it up Sunday, because nobody bothers them. So that's something that code enforcement is working on, and we're working to do some things to support that, because some people even have 313 area codes that come and do that. So even with the garage sale, I mean, all of this, we're looking at with neighborhood and also with legal talking about what can be done to improve that. But that's, you know, again, it's mandatory for all of this, you know. But again, I think we need to kind of put in something to alert the residents of this. You know, it's not ratting on your neighbors, it's keeping your city beautiful, you know, because we don't want people thinking they can come here and do anything they want to. And a lot of that is happening because sometimes people think they can. So it's really a neighborhood responsibility as well, especially the ones with homeowners association.
Any other comment or question? Here are none. Single lot assessment confirmation.
Good evening. This item is for confirmation of the 2026 single lot special assessment rule. Last week, this came before you at the regular meeting. The council elected to table it to this week. There was 2 homeowners that had assessments on the list that the council was going to give consideration for. So now we need to approve it. We did some research after that.
So I think that we, council, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we're gonna move forward with the assessment, and those outliers will still have an opportunity to resolve or discuss their questions or concerns. But we want to go ahead and proceed with the assessment confirmation.
I presented you with an updated amount. One was a grass cutting bill, for $298.44 for 29171 Rainwood Road. That one, they would have to, talk with the department.
Yep.
The other one was for a vacant lot on Melrose for demolition.
Yes, sir.
The updated amount excludes that amount for the demolished house. That one, because it was a lien on the property, should have been extinguished before he purchased it from Open Country.
So did you actually speak to these individuals? Do they know the outcome?
I have not yet. I wanted to wait until the approval was done.
Oh, the one gentleman was here, I think he
Yeah.
left, the one with the 28,000, he was here. I didn't see the other gentleman with the grass though.
So the demolition, you're saying that it's,
It should have been extinguished.
okay.
The lien should have been extinguished. We spoke with the county treasurer.
Well, it was extinguished at tax sale.
Right.
We should have deleted it from our records at that point.
Okay.
Councilwoman Banks?
But the other individual with the grass, you said you did not remove? I mean, they said they were new residents to the city.
Right.
Was it two weeks or 2 days or something?
I believe it was 2 months, around that. He had been here for a little bit. He said that they went on vacation and he thought the neighbor had cut out.
So we're not removing them from the rolls?
That would be up to the council.
Well, I'd like to suggest that they also be removed from the
So,
rolls.
so one thing that several council members had mentioned to me was, are we establishing precedents in doing such?
But we've done that before. We've done it before where people have objected, they go out into the hallway, and then in the past, they would come back, and it's been removed from the rolls.
What year?
No, so, if I may, so even sometimes if they talk to code, sometimes we'll waive like an administrative fee or something. No one ever really gets off 100%, but we can waive because the grass cutting, we have to pay a contractor to do it. But sometimes as a courtesy, we'll waive an administrative fee, which can sometimes be, $50, $75, whatever it is. So sometimes we do that, but I can't recall any time where we've just waived something completely.
Yes, sir.
I'm
sorry, were you finished?
Everybody knows you gotta mow the grass. I just don't buy that. And I really think it's a bad precedent. Cody's worked with some people and reduced, but they still were held responsible. I don't favor this, removing this.
And if we don't remove it, can we at least give them a little bit of relief? I mean,
What Justin is saying is that that person needs to go to code and work out, that's the way it's always been done.
but are they, okay, let's go back to they're new to the city. Are they aware of that? And if they're not here
Well,
tonight,
Justin can inform them of that, but they need to talk to code. But I don't support where you're coming from as far as just letting them off. Everybody knows you gotta mow your lawn. I mean, you just don't develop a hayfield.
no, okay, and I agree with that, but
Councilwoman Banks, I understand where you're coming from, and on the human side, I agree with it, but I think that if you saw all the cutting fees that was on there, why not do it for all? We haven't even heard from the others, they may have the same kind of story. I think the mayor just said it, they have to initiate that to ask for the administrative fee to be cut, but we can reach out to him or something, is that what I heard you say?
But
Not us,
during,
not us.
but during the meeting, I actually pointed to the code enforcement saying you can talk to him.
Oh, okay, and I remember
And
that.
he stood up.
Okay.
and everyone received a letter. So whether some people choose to come or not, that's a whole different
But
ballgame.
even if they don't, I would have a problem if my property was on that list for cutting grass. And we pushed, right, and we pushed for one, and not for the others, and we didn't. They could say, well, I didn't know I could say that. I didn't know either that the city was gonna come and cut it and charge it. They may not know it either, but if somebody hear that we did that, we might as well just clear everybody. I think we're setting ourselves up. I would say it should never come from the table from us. Let the residents fight it themselves. Just as we always tell them, go talk. And hopefully, our administrative departments know to say, okay, look, you gotta pay for it, because as the Councilman Mandelbaum stated, we hire a contractor, but we can give you relief on that admin fee or whatever. But I don't think it's appropriate for us to push canceling assessment fee for someone.
What was the time span within the time that he was in? Did you say he went on vacation?
He said he was on vacation, and when he came back, the grass was cut.
Okay, do we really need to say something to people to say, hey, just when you move into this house, just let you know you got grass and you need to be cut? You need to do this, serious? I mean.
I would say no.
Okay.
Somebody knows.
Okay, you got grass, it needs to be cut. I mean, seriously, we do this. If I was on that list, I would come back after you and say, look, you let it go. I mean, come on, you know, there's a
Motion for Rule 10.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag for Rule 10. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the single lot assessment confirmation as supplied by the city assessor with the one caveat that this one parcel in question had the administrative fee of $75 waived, but the rest go to the tax
Support.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. Any question or discussion?
What if he comes back?
At this point, he would have to appeal it to the tax judge. You know, he did come to the.
Can we just make that clear to him, just in case he might go on vacation again or something, you know?
Oh, if he's on here again?
Yeah, I think he needs to be brought up to serious knowledge about whatever is going on, so he would know specifically what's happening.
Can I ask a technical question? Is it possible that the resident already spoke with code enforcement and we don't know what happened?
By the time that they're on this roll, they've received notices.
I mean, in the
He's
past
talking
week,
about
since
since last
last
week.
week.
That should be come.
Did they go
I
into the
think he-
hallway and talk and code did an update or said follow up?
I think this will be okay. Either it's in agreement with code enforcement or we're telling code enforcement to
Right.
waive it. So,
Because they don't have that.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
As long as everything's considered.
it's good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Aquatic Center Construction Manager.
Good evening, Council. In June, we solicited contract or bids for our aquatic center. We selected Hobson Black and Cunningham Lynn. However, we did give an option of design build. That's usually popular because one, it's quicker, and two, it results in less change orders as you go along. Unfortunately, the way we wrote the bid specs, Hobson Black was the bidder, but under design build, Cunningham Lynn would have to be the contractor. That would have required at least coming back to you, and it probably would have generated arguments from the other bidders, because this is a big dollar project, so they're paying attention. And it may have required us to rebid the entire thing at that time, and that's not. So instead, we met with Cunningham Lynn, Hobson Black, and they agreed, we agreed, that we could go along as it was awarded, as council gave it, with the stipulation that once we got into the actual design, past the concept, that we could then contract with Hobson Black as a construction manager under the same term, Cunningham Lynn is the construction manager, thank you, under the same terms that we negotiated with Hobson Black, minus money that we'd already paid out under the Hobson Black contract. All three parties are in agreement with this. It will work out smoothly. The only real difference is that Hobson Black will be working for us under the contract with Cunningham Lynn, and that Cunningham Lynn will take charge. We actually really like this because we had a chance to work with, even though they weren't under contract, they knew they were going to be. So Cunningham and Lynn was involved day one, gave a lot of great input, even beyond what you would expect from just a construction manager, I mean, actual design input. And that was valuable to us. So we feel a lot better doing it this way because you normally wouldn't get a chance to too much from them, but we did. So that's how we would like to move forward. And all parties are in agreement. If you're acceptable to that, we could do that. We would like a Rule 10 because this is a quick project. We want to get it done.
I'm sorry, were you done?
Yes, sir.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, share your Rule 10 motion.
I'd like to make a motion for Rule 10.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hogue. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we take the administration's recommendation for the Aquatic Center Construction Manager Simple.
It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hogue. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. USDA contract biologist.
During the call and leading up to it, we found the USDA was a great partner for wildlife management. Very professional, as far as I'm concerned, top notch. But some problems came up. We only have them for a few days, really, and only in relation to deer. We have wildlife issues all year long, and other wildlife, coyotes, turkeys, yes, the turkeys too, which can be vicious. They took over my yard for 3 days, I think. So, after we conducted the call, we got together and we decided to discuss that problem. The problem that lots of cities now want to conduct calls next year. There is no way that the USDA can comply with their requests, but keep their staff busy, because they all have to be at the same time of the year. That's a problem. They would be busy for a few weeks, but they couldn't keep that staff employed all year long, and you don't want to use temps for calls. This is very serious business. You want the professional, trained people conducting it. So that wouldn't work either. And then the other problem with our call was it wasn't as successful as it could have been because we could only fish where we had a license. And what we really need to do is spend the whole year, when someone calls in and says, hey, there's so many deer in my neighborhood, we have the biologist look at that. The biologist talks, the biologist talks to the resident, talks to the neighbors and say, hey, would you mind if we did this here? So then we're conducting our cull where you have the most deer. And that's where you get the impact too, because there's more deer total, but also because that's where you have the trouble. I mean, as it was, we had to use golf courses and things like that because that's where we had permission. But I think we could do better if we focused more where the problem is. So as a result, some of the communities involved in the call had a meeting afterwards with the USDA, and we devised a plan whereby 3 similarly sized cities would partner to hire a USDA biologist, vehicle supervision, all the back-end support to support us year-round. Not full-time year-round, we couldn't justify that, but a third of someone's time, we absolutely could justify. The nice thing about that is that includes the cull. So each city would contribute $60,000, but that's $20,000 that we've already would be spending anyway on a cull, and that's included. So this flexibility is really what we've needed. We have the partnership going forward. This is fast moving. We want to start this in October. So we have time to get ready for the call if we're going to do that, and it seems like we are. So since this was then prepared, we have progressed in negotiations to where we would like our initial term to be 3 years at up to $60,000 per year. So if you would mind considering this as a Rule 10, because we want to get in here. Other cities want this, want part of this. There's no doubt about that. I've heard that. But we've worked it out. We're ready to go forward. But I want us to be ready to go forward when the opportunity arises. So that's why I'm asking for approval now under Rule 10, so that we're ready to move. And also, if I could have an amendment to the resolution to approve up to 3 years. That changed since we've prepared this agenda letter, otherwise I would have had it in our sorry.
Councilman Mandelbaum.
Would this biologist also look at sterilization? And I only say that because a member of the wildlife committee reached out to me last week, and they said they have an idea about how sterilization could work instead of a call and they wanted to know what the city's thoughts were on calls.
Well, first of all, I don't think anyone on the Wildlife Commission is considering sterilization instead of a cull, okay? We sent one of our wildlife commissioners to Ohio to observe sterilization. She's a retired veterinarian, that's who you
That's who
heard
reached
from.
out, yeah.
I know. And I don't think anyone's opposed to considering that. What I'm going to ask the Wildlife Commission to consider in future is that maybe we would agree to support a sterilization, but not to the extent where we're contributing money, and not in replacement of a cull. Instead, we would maybe provide a location if they want to do sterilization. Maybe provide some staff to maintain the security and operation of that facility during the sterilization. And then maybe we could actually compare and see what's more effective. But I just need to let you know, when we talk about sterilization and what happens in Ohio, that's no problem at all. We're not Ohio. The DNR, I did speak with the DNR on this, and the emails I received back were nicely worded, hey, we're not doing this.
I thought the sterilization, you can't sell the meat if you sterilize. Wasn't that the point?
Well, one thing, if you sterilize the deer, you don't need to sell the meat because you don't plan to kill the deer. So you have to do it somewhere different. I think what you're talking about is chemical sterilization with birth control. That's a problem, then you can't. But with sterilization, what we would actually do is, the plan that they want is that you would actually catch the deer, take them somewhere, perform surgery on them, and then let them go. I'm not too sure about that, honestly, because think about it when your dog has surgery. You put a cone on a dog so he doesn't, just letting the deer go and hoping for the best could be challenging, I understand that. But regardless, I think the real challenge would be getting the DNR to approve it, because it's not approved right now in Michigan except for experimental. But I suppose we might propose to the council that we at least consider some level of support, but not funding. If there's a group that really wants to pay for sterilization, great. And maybe we could provide a place for it to happen. And maybe we could do part of the city, but not the whole thing.
But you're saying even if we were gonna try to do something like that, it wouldn't be approved because the DNR doesn't allow it?
Very likely, probably not.
I think we should stick with it.
We'd have to apply for an experimental. And remember, even Ann Arbor, when they did sterilization, they did a cull too. In Ohio, where we sent someone to see sterilization, they did a cull too. So I'm not sure. Okay. It's very difficult when you get into the sterilization and culls because it's such an emotionally driven thing that you never get a straight answer from anyone. That's the truth.
Councilman Brightwell?
John, does this include our annual counting of the deer?
It would include the activity that the biologist would need to know where the problem is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that annual aerial counting of deer is going to be something that continues to happen. We didn't do it this year. It's not cheap. I think instead we'll be responding to where the complaints are, where the car deer accidents are, and basically where the deer are. Because remember, raw numbers is not crucial when it comes to wildlife. What's crucial is the difference between your environmental carrying capacity and your social carrying capacity. And as long as you're able to handle the deer you have, it doesn't matter how many you have. And if you're not able to handle the deer you have, it doesn't matter how many deer you have.
Okay, that's fine. My understanding was when we counted, that was we would get the local, where the masses, the critical masses are. So if we're just doing critical mass now based on word of mouth?
Based on, well, actually, what we really care about is where the problems are.
Yeah, that's what.
So if there's an area where there's a lot of deer, but there's no problems, that's not a big issue to us. We're more concerned about where there are problems, where there's a lot of car deer accidents, where the neighbors are saying, hey, my whole yard's been eaten again. That's what we're going to be focusing on. Where the number of deer are affecting the quality of life of our residents, and that's what matters.
Okay. So, before, I recall, when we were counting deer, that's what we determined the critical mass, where the various they were massing. So you say we're not doing that now, we're getting that critical mass word of mouth. Somebody call, I got a deer. So how do we determine what we call?
Well, when we,
Can you answer that?
No,
Excuse me?
We're having a committee meeting.
right, irrelevancy.
So I don't know if he can answer that.
Jeez.
Well, he might
You
can.
call them and then just count them all together.
if I could at least try to respond. The problem, the difference is, sir, that since we've gone along this road, we have refined our approach. And we realize that the more important issue is where we are having problems with deer. I think to use the term word of mouth maybe cheapens our process. It doesn't. We are very careful in the information we receive from our residents. Once we have a biologist, we'll be sending someone out there to talk and look at and see the damage. So I just think we have come up with a more refined way to do it than an aerial count, which actually, part of the reason we didn't do it this year was it became very expensive.
Okay,
And we'd rather spend our money where we get the most bang for the buck.
okay, that's fine. And since I've been,
Okay.
theoretically, since I've been on council, everything I've read about, this is just an aside, everything I've read about sterilization, it's not worked. In New York, Pennsylvania, everywhere they come up with it, it did not work. So that's just my comment on that. You okay?
No, I'm not.
Okay, any other comment, question? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion for Rule 10.
Support. It's been properly moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the partnering with USD biologists for a 3-year contract.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Council President Pro Tem Hoag. Any question or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, council. I appreciate your consideration.
Mr. Mayor, yes, sir.
So, by charter, I am obligated to give you a city budget, first meeting in May, so you now have it. Donna, how are you?
So, Mr. Mayor, any suggestions on protocol for, we want to meet Wednesday?
We have a schedule that I think everyone received.
No.
I'm sorry. Well,
What time are we starting?
we do have a schedule.
Wednesday, this Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, but they're,
Oh, dear, calling my back.
so Wednesday, the 6th is building, housing, and development, fire, planning, business development, we'll send this all to you. Assessing, administration, facilities management, purchase.
That's on Thursday?
That's Wednesday. Thursday is library, emergency preparedness, technology services, sexual services, community relations, and cable TV. Then next week, the 13th and the 14th, we have police on the 13th, 46th District Court, human resources, city attorney, city clerk, city treasurer, city council, mayor, and fiscal services. And then on the 14th, Parks and Recreation, DDA, Engineering and Stormwater, and Public Works. So I thought this went out to
Can you
everybody.
get copies of that for us tonight?
So, Mr. Mayor, just one thing that I want to talk to you all about. The only thing that the mayor didn't mention is that on Thursday,
Black Brand will be here to present the
Right.
audit and ask the research to start first.
yeah, so if you all had questions on the audit, you know, that'd be a good time to lift those during that conversation.
During the budget session?
Yeah. Alicia.
Any questions on what, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, what do you think?
No, that's it.
Any questions? So when we actually conduct the budget review on Wednesday,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, we have a practice that I found that after Councilman Mandelbaum, that we can do a roundtable with questions. And then, so, for example, Pro Tem Hope were to start off on the first department, then Councilman Mandelbaum will go on the for the second department, and we'll just go around the table with any questions we have for their respective department.
So we ask that you read this, particularly if there's a lot to digest. So we ask that you read the sections that are going to be reviewed that night.
And listen to other people's questions.
What does it mean?
Any questions on this item from anyone or comments? Hearing none, yes, ma'am.
Did I hear somewhere that everyone was asked to reduce their budget by a certain
7%.
percentage?
7%.
7%? So was that accomplished with the majority of the departments?
Some departments were police and fire, no.
Is there anything else in there we should be aware of if we're comparing this with to last year?
I'm sorry, I'm not really prepared to, we've been putting this together so incrementally, nothing jumps out.
Okay.
Obviously, our collective bargaining units are the biggest drivers, what we spend in wages. Capital projects are outlined in the transmittal letter. There are various capital projects, but, and we always have, you know, something in Parks and Rec, something in individual departments. But hitting the 7% reduction was difficult with wages.
So did we do that through reducing the number of people or just fine tuning?
There are some headcount changes in that, yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Administrator,
Yep.
you have a human item?
Well, I've asked Grant Williams here, obviously Northland continues to be a major focus for us. And we do have, last time we were here, I presented the terms, of the key terms of agreement. And if Mr. Williams can present, I'd like to just circulate this draft. And this is the amendment, proposed amendment to the development agreement. I think we're hitting the different points that council had asked for.
So I will just make this note that this is in draft. It says that on the watermark, I believe, as that came through. This is in draft. I'm still going to be reviewing this with Terry Crode, and then after reviewing it with Terry Crode, providing it to Contours. So this is very much a working document subject to change. But we wanted to have something in front of you to show you the direction that we were going. And so we had a term sheet. And the purpose of the term sheet is twofold. One, it makes it really easy for a business person to quickly review and not read all of my nonsensical legalese, right? So it's a bullet point, here's what the deal is, right? And then I take that term sheet and I turn it into an amendment. It was also a way to present it to the city council so we could walk through those bullet points in an effective manner, because I see, you're looking at it, holy cow, this is a lot of pages, right? And several of them are blank, but, so that's what we did here. This would be the third amendment to the supplemental development agreement. So we have two agreements with Contour with respect to Northland, or we actually have three. We have one, which is the Brownfield agreement. We have two, which is the ODD agreement. And then three, we have a supplemental development agreement that establishes certain terms that they have to comply with respect to developing the property, and then also gives us some rights if they default. So this would be the third amendment to that. Always we amend, when we amend the ODD, usually it requires an amendment to the supplemental development agreement, or the SDA. And also when we amend the SDA, it usually requires an amendment to the ODD. So on the first page is the recitals explaining what's going on. And I just raised in those recitals that there are issues. And this amendment is drafted in part to address those issues. On the next page is a whole bunch of defined terms. And then in section 2, we highlight that, hey, listen, we're going to withhold permitting until you hit some milestones. And you're going to agree in this amendment that withholding that permitting isn't going to give you some sort of claim. Hey, listen, you know, we comply with the ODD, but you are withholding the permit. You're right, we are, because that's the deal. So that's section 2. It also says, because we have a separate developer who would develop the dome project, that Contour would indemnify us from any claims by the developer. It's a Detroit Rising, in case they tried to make that claim. Section 3 establishes just the time of the items that would be necessary before they could get any permit to begin construction of the sports dome. They have to pay their taxes. We have a review of funding, and at this point in time, it looks like we'll use Baker Tilly to review their funding. They're going to have to pay for that review. That shouldn't come out of the city's budget, but they'll have to pay for the review, but Baker Tilly will put together an analysis for us. They have to, so these are all, again, things that are important and have to be done before we give them any initial construction permits. They have to get the site security and the fencing in place. Next page, they have to get the construction material storage, a plan to Fred that he has reviewed, and then actually put the materials and equipment where they said they would. And I think honestly on those two things, they've actually made incredible progress, but still we have the terms in the agreement. And then there's landscaping that they have to get in place. And those are outlined in C, and there's 5 items there. So those are everything they need to do before they can get construction permits. Section 4, on the bottom of page 4, says these are the things you have to do before you can get an occupancy permit for the dome. And if you flip the page to 5, they've got to get the site infrastructure for phase 1 completed. They have to turn in all the as-built drawings for that completed site infrastructure. And they have to complete the soil stabilization. And some of that soil stabilization goes into the building pad, the dirt building pad for the dome.
So sir, on that note,
Yeah.
question. So I know you're looking at this from a legal perspective, but me trying to educate myself, I did talk to some people, I think who the city's done business with, who specialize in that specific thing. And they're saying that because of the condition of the dirt, can they do what's being proposed here in C? Because you're looking at it from a legal perspective, but the actual, are you working with soil specialists?
Right. So Eagle is the one that sets, so the way it is you put together a DEA and a due care plan. And in that DEA and due care plan, you propose what you will do to keep everything safe.
Okay.
And then that gets approved by Eagle. So it's not me and it's not the city, it is the Michigan State Eagle that is responsible to make sure they comply with all this. And they review their DEA plan, they review their due care plan.
Okay.
And as been mentioned before, a lot of times when you have, I'm going to use the word industrial soils, right? Soils that have contaminants in it, to take those and put those back and then seal them up is part of best practices. And that's why Eagle, in reviewing that plan, probably would have approved it.
And
Okay,
not
so
just Eagle.
I have not read all of the due care plan.
Not just Eagle, but any lender. When you look at the Small Business Relief Act put in place, those protocols, the lending community drives the majority of it. attorneys we work with actually work for banks, ensuring that those environmental safeguards are in place.
I'm just trying to avoid any blowback on us once all the dust settles, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And sealing it up, if you think about it, and that's why we are saying stabilize that soil, get those dirt piles gone. Because if it's under the macadam, if it's under the sod, then it's not blowing around. And so that's the whole goal there. We would give them 120, so before they can get an occupancy permit for the dome, they would have to have all of the current piles in phase one, all of those have to be stabilized. Okay, that means they've got to be graded, there's got to be straw mat or grass down, depending on which it is. Then, when they do the dome, they're going to have another pile. Every time you do more construction, you'll have another pile. So, for the dome pile, we give them 120 days after they've created the pile to stabilize it, to get it graded. Although we did acknowledge that from a practical standpoint, it may be that they need a little bit longer to do that. So we gave the city engineer the right to review and extend that, right? We'll be reasonable, but we are gonna be in control. Then section 5, so we did with section 3, we looked at everything we want done before we give you any construction permit. In section 4 is anything we want done before we give you any occupancy permit. And then section 5 says, you know what? We want the same procedure to go through with each and every further development. And so it lists out, we call it maintenance, but it lists out all the things that you're supposed to do each time you further develop that. Section 6. And section 6, I said this is a working document. This is, we got placeholders in there. I populated dates out of my own brain. I've got to work with Terry Crow to finalize those dates, and then we got to take them over to Contour. But this is what it will look like. So any dates you see in there are not what necessarily will be the end. But here are the initial milestones that we're covering. Payment of property taxes. I put in, again, I just put in Joe first, right? Site security plan, and I think they've already submitted something to Fred, but I don't know that it's up to
The
what.
bulk of it's done, I want to review gates on the site.
Yeah. And so I think Fred will have some comments on security plan, storage plan. All of those are very easy for them to get done quickly, and that's why I just chose to populate something there. Landscaping, that will take them some extra time, but we'll put a date in there. Soil stabilization, site infrastructure, as-built buildings. And so if you flip over the next page, if they fail to do this, we're going to put in some, I'm going to use the word penalties, okay? I shouldn't, because courts don't like to enforce penalties. But I'm going to we're putting in some penalties that says, okay, listen, if you fail to get this done, if you missed your deadline, we give you a notice, we give you 15 days to cure, and if you don't, and again, these numbers are going to be subject to negotiation, but it's $5,000. It's a slap on the wrist, it stings, you don't want to do it, but, and then if you still don't get it done, it's another $5,000. And if you still don't get it done, it's $7,000. And if you still don't get it done, it's $10,000. And this applies to multiple things too, right? So in each instance, it slowly grades up. And I will tell you, I do construction contracts out the wazoo. And this is the, which is not a legal term, by the way, wazoo, but it is something to do a lot of. And I always scale it up because contractors will get much more comfortable with the idea of the first penalty isn't so bad, but boy, it gets bad pretty quickly. And so that's a way of kind of getting both sides to accept it. But at the same time, having just something to say, you don't get it done, there's a penalty, right? And it's not a huge amount, but if they don't do anything, it will be a large amount. So the structure behind that, we're still working through. It may be a surety bond of like $100,000, so you have something to draw down. It may be some other structure that involves, any disbursement from the brownfield reimbursements to have some, potential. We can't do an assignment of that because they've got a lender, and their lender already took an assignment of that, but they could endorse a check to us. So we got a couple of different ideas on that. So that, not so short, is the agreement. I put a placeholder in there because I know you said you would like some reports. Okay, if we have to,
City clerk's there.
The city clerk, signature.
But-
It's on the signature pages.
oh yeah, okay.
The question, so this document, it's clear with the dome. Is this gonna include the phases plan for the entire development, or is it, cause I see as-is buildings, I see dome, but I don't see comprehensive, everything that's.
I think what we're thinking
Okay.
is that we're gonna have an amendment to the ODE. And that amendment to the ODE will change some of those dates. And then we'll duplicate that with an SDA.
But would that have to go through Terry?
Yes, that will have to go through Terry.
Okay.
This gets us all the infrastructure underground in the eastern part, of the property.
Yeah.
And then west of where the Costco Drive is, that's phase 2. This does touch in, because part of the dome went into phase 2. But the goal was get everything in phase 1,
Yeah.
stabilized, dirt balanced, infrastructure in place. We still got a lot to figure out in phase 2. Because phase 2, the biggest driver is gonna be what happens with that lower level of
So when we talk
of
about.
the old Hudson.
To your point,
Macy's.
when we talk about an extension, is it an extension on a subset or the entire effort? You see what I'm asking?
Not sure.
So remember, one of my questions was, what's the end state? When is the final day that everything should be done? Remember, I kept hearing 2030, I heard 2050.
And the administration has never set a date they need to drive that, but we're actually raising some questions with the state over, you have a brownfield plan that permits a certain amount of capture.
Okay.
Anything that happens will require a local capture approval as well as the Michigan Strategic Fund to approve. So as to the end date, I still think there's an evolution, so much of it is being market-driven, but working with Terry, he's supposed to tell us the next end dates. So buildings A and B, A I believe will open up by the end of June. I mean, it's happening. B will probably be another 90 days. We know some of the foundation work for F and G, the next 2 buildings along Greenfield, those are in.
So I'm just gonna tell you, in plain English, how I feel. You ever lend somebody money?
Yes.
Okay, so I lend somebody $1,000, and I gave it to them because they needed it. But then they pay it back to me in nickels and dimes, over time. And in some cases, they get mad when you ask them, where's my money? That's how I feel this whole thing is going. That's how I feel this is going. I don't have an end-to-end plan how I'm gonna get my $1,000 back. You see what I'm saying? So right now, we're talking about $200, but you still owe me $1,000. We're not even talking interest.
So the city's 20 million gets paid, every time taxes are paid, we're collecting 85 cents on the dollar.
So we win either way.
Pardon?
We win either way.
If we get the money.
Well, in his delay, we're not being paid back as we originally anticipated, quickly as we anticipated.
Right.
So,
We don't really win.
Yes,
Oh.
sir.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you. I appreciate this document, but I think I'm a little confused. Our vote last week was to give him until May 18th to comply with, I want to say, our punch list. Is that correct or not correct?
So here's my understanding. We gave them approval to move forward with the dome and its planning. They still have to come back to us with site plan, what you mentioned, the punch list item, a phases plan that kind of gives us a timeline.
All of it.
Right, but,
Yes, sir.
so a lot of this is in here, so then what is coming back on the 18th?
This is just a template. This is a working
No,
document.
no, I understand, but what's coming back on the 18th?
What's coming back on the 18th will be that site plan for approval, I believe.
For-
Or is that, and as part of your approval for, and I'm not sure if the site plan is coming back on the 18th, but what the resolution was to go ahead and allow that use conditioned on several things, including approval of the site plan when that gets submitted. And then also, one of the conditions was this amendment to be finalized.
But that, so the site plan can be, I'm assuming that it sounds like it's being approved in-house?
No.
Because there's a process for a site plan, so I don't know how the site plan can come back by the 18th to be approved.
Nancy, I don't remember that.
I'm not sure if the 18th is the
Yeah,
day.
I don't.
Okay, so why are they, what are they coming back the 18th for? I thought it was for the punch list personally, and it,
Did we specify a date?
We did.
we said the 18th.
Contour's coming back, not Detroit Rise, and Contour's coming back.
Contour's coming back.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah, and-
Finalize. What I was told to finalize this.
I know, but, okay, so to finalize this, so I guess, how much do they owe us in taxes?
I believe that is in
Give or
the 200,000 to
take.
300,000 range.
200 or 300,000, and they haven't paid.
I'm gonna be really
Okay.
careful on that.
No, okay, I was just saying approximately. So why is the date in here June 1st versus May 18th?
He said that was the natural days.
So the dates are 100% pulled out of my head.
Okay, okay.
Just as a
Yes,
placeholder.
fillers,
Yeah, okay.
placeholders, yeah.
So all of these dates, I guess, on page 6 will
Yeah,
be.
all of those dates I'll
Okay.
work with Terry on.
So, and do we really think by the 18th he's gonna be able to accomplish all this?
I don't think that's the conversation.
And that wasn't
You
my
gotta do it,
understanding. There's
right?
no way, in other words, some of these items, like the soil stabilization, that has to be done in part in connection with the construction, right? So I guess I was not under the understanding that he had to get all these things done.
I was
by
gonna
the
say,
18th.
guys, he doesn't have to get this, because first you gotta sign on it. If he hasn't
He
signed,
nothing.
he's gotta sign it. So it's not true to say he has to get it done. He has to agree to it first. It's what is he going to agree to first? That's the key. But, okay, go ahead.
Well, and then if I could just continue, and that's it, what if he doesn't agree to this? It's gotta come back to this council, but I thought May 18th was the deadline. That's, one of the reasons I voted no was I did not think it was fair to the dome developers to start the site plan process, go through everything, spend more money when the contour might not even be able to meet our requests. And then we're just gonna say, oh, sorry, he didn't meet our request, then they're gonna come back and come after us.
But he was aware of that.
He
wasn't
was aware.
of all
He
that.
understood that.
He
'cause
understood that,
I
yeah.
pointed that
I
out to
know you
him.
pointed it out, but
He
I
understood
don't,
that.
There's a lot more to that than that.
I don't
you
think
know?
he's aware, I don't think.
He's a businessman.
Well,
Okay,
they would have to sue Contour.
Nancy, I hope so, I think so.
I hope and pray you guys are right, that's all I'm gonna say.
They would have to sue.
I think we brought it up in here in this room too, that
I think they have their own personal battles that we just have to stay aside from that and
They
just
are.
go with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can,
But I think
if
this
you want, I
is a
can
good
read
start.
the resolution.
And we can alter the dates as we,
So,
of course, we gotta get him.
No, I think it's a good start, but, I mean, how many times, I think we need to agree to dates and stick to it.
Correct.
Because we can't keep, okay, we're gonna give you 30 more days, we're gonna give you 30 more days. If you would like me to start, I'll list all the projects Contour has done in Southfield. and what the status is of all of them. And I
Okay,
really don't
so
want,
this is-
I don't really want to go there. So to give them 30 more days, 30 more days, 30 more days, they haven't completed one
the
project
difference
that they
though-
own in
The
Southfield.
difference is, we have financial penalties, consequences that we just, hey, if they don't stick to it,
We gave him benefit
he
of the
signs
doubt
off on
before.
it.
And I've seen other people with penalty options, and they just keep getting them on, getting them on.
Well,
getting-
we have
So
to
what
make
happens
sure.
in, so what's gonna happen in the end, what's the worst case scenario if he doesn't pay the penalties? We keep sending him bills,
We get no-
what's gonna happen in the
We pull the
end?
property
Hold,
back.
hold everything.
Default, we can't.
Default. Yes.
So it costs us some money at the time.
Should we have that language though in here,
Well,
that
that's why I'm
failure
saying it needs to
failure
be-
to
Yeah, it's almost like we have to
meet
cross
the
every bridge when we get to it,
financial
though.
consequences results in a default, I don't know, can we even say that?
But,
That-
so we did put in financial consequences there. The other thing is that the brownfield funds get withheld, right? They can't get at them if he's in default. If we need to, I think to your point, Councilman Banks, it's not only having the provision there, but actually enforcing it against them, so that they realize they have to comply. Is that one of the points? you're
Well,
making?
yes, and I mean, I'm really praying that everything's gonna fall in line, but, you know, like Mr. Zorn, he's real optimistic it's gonna open June 1st. I'm not, building from top to bottom?
Top to,
I've heard everybody say he's made a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
He's not
I
the only
mean,
one. Terry
what about
said
the
it.
top floor? I mean, I know maybe the first 5 floors, but what about the rest of the floors?
I'm told by people who've been in there that the units are drywalled, the interior, there's some minor interior finishes.
And I've heard opposite.
Yeah, but, so if any one of you own that property though, as you lease up, there's a punch list in every unit.
Right.
Having built other multifamily properties, when you're lease up,
You might need to stand up. But I think we can at least say this is a start. We didn't have anything before, and now we have this in place. And we have to decide from there. I mean, it's like, we have to at least give him this to say we can move forward. And it doesn't look optimistic, yes and no. But we have to be fair and just give him this.
And I was gonna say, I understand what you're saying, Councilwoman Banks, where we've let them get away with it before. I think that's because it was early on, it was
Trust.
new, before trust, before COVID.
Exactly.
Now it's up to us to hold them to it.
It
We
was
got-
trust, it was exciting. I mean, we're doing the project.
It's a valid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've heard all the stories before. We won't fall for it again. I just think years prior, there was justification to allow some things. But I think now we'll hold his feet to the fire. And I think, I don't know, that's what I'm saying, is that prior.
Councilman Brown?
Graham,
Oh, I'm sorry.
his name is Graham.
Yes.
Okay, Graham, this is customary and routine, right, this document?
This is what?
Customary and routine, this document.
This one is tailored
It's a question,
specifically.
it's a club,
It's obvious.
Yeah, this document is tailored specifically to address some of these
Okay.
issues.
on the most development, this is, I'm coming from a novice standpoint.
Yeah.
Most development, we have progress, they have some type of progress in that document. Is this the supplement, this is what we should have put in before?
No, this is addressing things that have uniquely arisen, because we already have provisions in the original agreement
Right.
as to deadlines and structures, and the ODD has all the details. In fact, in a little bit of this is duplication of what's already required.
Okay, what, you said something currently exists that showed certain deadlines, to-dos. What were the penalties existing in that original document?
There weren't.
There were no penalties.
There was a
Just a
default provision
Just a default.
that, and again, you gotta work with the lenders, but there's a default provision where we can purchase the land back. if they're in default, we get the land back. And so that's a pretty, that's kind of like, pushing the atomic button, but that would be one of your remedies.
So the biggest thing is the default provision.
Yeah. Yep.
That currently exists.
Right.
Okay, this is just to.
This is just because we've had these
To let him
issues
move it.
specifically arise.
Let him aware we are moving toward that provision in the event certain things don't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think Councilwoman Glenn,
And
you said, say what you were saying.
I'm just trying to understand how after so much time, right? There's such a lack of understanding to what has been previously approved, consumed, read, discussed. I have not been here that long, and I have not heard that much new information. So I'm a little confused as to why we are always in such a conundrum when we get information that, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he kind of said that some of this is redundant. It is. What is new is the punch list. But sometimes when we sit at the table, I just hear the same thing over and over again. So maybe I needed to be here since this was incepted, but nothing sounds new to me. So what am I missing that on this project, there's not an understanding of what was previously approved by some people already sitting here? I guess whenever we get on Northland, it just feels like we go through the same conversation over and over and over again. So do we need like a just walkthrough of the contract? Or do we need to go through the minutes so, everyone knows what was approved previously? Because we're not working smarter here. We making some things that are very simple, very hard. And I'm not being disrespectful and by no means, but I just think that we talk ourselves in circles because we say the same thing over and the same questions get asked almost every single week. I can regurgitate them at this point. So, I mean, that was my only ask. Like, am I missing something? Like, did you not go into this ad nauseum 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? I wasn't here.
Neither was I. I think a lot of that is just, this is my opinion. I think when a developer comes in, and I'm no expert on this, there's a trust factor that goes with people saying that they're gonna do things. And there's a contract that goes with it, and it's not like we've had to hold their hand like we had to hold this guy's hand and even pull it back or what have you. I think, just to me, by us not being here, and just like I asked for the video to show, because I wanted to show where he said exactly what he said. We did a whole video tour of that place, and he gave us things, and I wanted that as evidence, where I don't know where that is right now, to show that. But what I'm saying is, I think we're repeating because of what he's done. And we're trying to give him benefit of the doubt, but we do have some things at risk. If he defaults, we lose too. It's not like we
Well, I
just
was saying, when you walked out, what
Yeah.
I was saying, what I think the issue is that, early on, we were building the trust and we were, and I'm saying we, even though I wasn't here.
Understood.
But to say that, it was new, everybody was excited, and so where a lot of things just, you let it pass.
It's still business.
However, but this is what I said,
Yeah.
we can't do that anymore. And it was just, you were hit with COVID, you were hit with, it was just a lot hitting that I think he was given
A lot of grace. Yeah, I can see that.
So I was just saying, that's why I wanted you to bring up your frustration, because you had missed that little
But
conversation.
here's my thing. We let this soil thing go on for 3 weeks, and in 5 minutes I pulled up the report. Come on. Like, seriously, and the report's been out there since 2021. On the soil. We sat in 2 different rooms asking, where's the report? I put it in writing 3 times.
Can I get the report? You know what I'm saying? And in a blink of an eye, we were able to get the information that everybody had been asking for, and it wasn't rocket science. And it stated, like, this groundwater cannot be drunk, right? It gave us a bunch of state-driven, right? This is a state department that is federally funded, so we can't negate that they did their job, right? Because you can bring it up for every single place that has a brownfield. I just think sometimes there's an onus on us to do the work behind the scenes. And I understand COVID happened, I get it, because I was on the Board of Education at that time, and it was hell. So I empathize with anyone who was a public servant at that time. But I do also think that there is a level of responsibility that we have to dig. And for those that should be digging to get information for us and we're not getting it, then there's an accountability factor. That's all, because every time we come here and we talk about the same exact thing, it is frustrating for me. Because some of this information is at our fingertips. We just have to search our emails. I haven't been here as long as many of you, but I can find information if I want it. You know what I mean? And I think this is, for me, this conversation is, thank you for presenting this, because I think it gives us the opportunity. Number one, we need to go home and read it. You know what I mean? Like, none of us have actually gone home and walked page by page on this. So we're having a conversation and we haven't read the whole thing. And I really think that it would behoove us to take it, dice it up, email questions to Fred, Dawn, whoever. We probably have some of the same ones. You know, and then come back, because like you said, May 18th, you gotta come in here.
So my only concern with that is, around the table, we all have a different understanding of what's happening May 18th and what happened last week.
How?
Well, I'm just going on with the questions that are being asked. Right?
So, can I ask the city administrator, what's your expectation of May 18th? Because really, you're kind of.
May 18th is more about the dome and its site plan.
Okay.
The other item is, if you go through this, that's pages 2 through 5, are your punch list of items to be completed.
So respectfully, there were two motions, right?
Okay.
What you just talked to was motion 1. Motion 2 was the phase plan.
The phase plan, they need to meet with Terry Crode and give us a revised plan.
And what date did we tie to that?
And so that means that they should be doing that right now, right?
But the extent, what was the June date? Or there was an extension?
And I'm trying to find on, because the motion is in our minute,
But
there is
to
in our
Councilwoman Hope's point, they gotta agree to this.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we're doing a lot of talking and they have not said, you know what I mean? Like,
They've seen earlier, they've seen the term sheets.
okay.
The penalties, that needs more
We
discussion.
had further conversation with them.
Have they
on
seen
that.
this document? Have they seen this document?
They have not seen this document, but we had a conversation, Fred and I, and with David and his lawyer, had a conversation on Thursday to walk through, and we made some adjustments based on what they.
And we did discuss penalties in front of him. We did discuss.
So Councilwoman Bland, were you done? Because not, the mayor was trying to.
No, I'm good, because it sounds like, the second piece of this is unclear. Is that correct? Okay.
Well, I'd like to see the motions, because there were two motions, and May 18th was the date.
Having trouble getting to it. I don't think May 18th was part of the motion. I think the motion was approval of certain permitted uses subject to.
The second one was an extension of something.
It was in the slide presentation, because I already turned around and he was looking at the board and Terry, so there is a slide that gives the exact dates.
This is a live meeting?
Last week.
Last week. Mr. Mayor, did you have a?
Yeah, so, to my colleague across the table, I agree with you. We have ground this and ground this and ground this. And some of it is to be expected. We had a plan.
Nature of the beast.
And we knew that it's a huge project, it's 120 acres. So we knew that everything in that plan that we developed in 2016 very likely wasn't going to happen, all of it the way we had hoped.
But
that-
so much hasn't happened.
But that's to be expected.
Yeah.
And then, because we really want this to happen, we want a city within a city. We didn't want a warehouse, we didn't want a logistics center. So consequently, you have somebody who's gonna build our vision because nobody else was coming around to build our vision. So I think he's kind of taking advantage of us, quite honestly. But here's part of the problem. I'm talking and other people are talking, and then you miss, so that goes back to Councilwoman Bland's point. If we were all listening at once, maybe we wouldn't be regurgitating all of this stuff. Okay, excuse me. Because I've sat through it since 2016. So anyhow, so some of it naturally is going to evolve, and so we give them leeway. And then there were a number of issues. And so, you know, we're holding on to our vision and our dream. But I am fed up, and he knows it. I will not make any more excuses for him. When the public has asked me what is happening at Northland, I said, well, you know, the generator. Well, he's done a lot of underground work. You know, there was more asbestos. The city removed a lot of asbestos, and then Eagle came down and said in the J.C. Penney's building there was more because the mastic on the tiled floors. And then in the Hudson's building, wall underneath or behind wall, you know, all of these things. But I'm done. I'm absolutely baked over with this. This is wonderful. It committed in writing. Thank you. We have our list, and that's why I brought up last time the penalties. Give the thing some teeth, and of course he's not going to like it, you know. But I agree with you. It just let's pay attention and all know where we are with this. And it's outlined right here. The whole punch list is here. The only error I see is Janet Jackson's name.
Yes.
So this has got to be Grossbart. Anyhow, this is great. And we need to hold our ground with him. We've given him so much leeway and I think he's taken advantage of us. And to me, not paying your taxes, unexcusable.
So when will we see the final? Or will we see the final before those?
I'm done.
I'm sorry. She has a question for you.
I'm sorry.
When will we see the final with the exact dates on it, or will we see it before it goes?
Well, I need Terry and David to get together, so.
So what's
Yeah,
this?
I'm gonna just say to all of you, go through what the default looks like. You'll spend 5-6 years. I'm gonna tell you, Island Lakes got hit by the Great Recession. The city of Taylor had 14 million in bonds. Sterling Heights has been working on it 6 years. They're now approving a $45 million bond to build the infrastructure. We got $60 million of brownfield eligible activities. We put 20 million in, we'll get paid back over time. With the increment that's coming in, you will get that. Now this is about accelerating that. You have multiple paths. Everything we've done in these terms, finish phase one, stabilize it, get the infrastructure, those paths. Because if there's a default, that's the product you'll have that you can market to other folks. When we did this project, everyone said, oh, Bloomfield Park, north of Square Lake and Telegraph. No one will ever do this in Southfield. I mean, that was part of it. The marketplace, the mayor said it, saw factories and logistics centers. That was, and, one of the things when you begin violating where the market thinks it is and trying to manipulate, that's what we did.
Okay, so we're May 14th today, so 14 days from now is May 18th. So if I'm just trying to calculate in between that time, you get the draft, finalized with the dates on it, and Jerry looks at it, and who else look at it? Is that like 2 weeks from now, a week from now? Can we expect something, or we get back with some, I'm just trying to, think, is there gonna be like because May is gonna go fast, and then we have budget too.
All right, Grant.
No follow-up to what I was saying, and then we just get do we have a kind of potential date?
Excuse me for 1 second. We can't have hissy fits when one person is talking and another person gets cut off and you don't get to say what you want to say. We have to be respectful. Let folks finish their comments, okay?
I just want to say, I mean, since we're dealing with kind of like a timeline, because, when we leave here, we all read, and like we read other stuff, we got the budget going on. So are we gonna get back comments at a certain time? Or he's gonna get back dates at a certain time? And do we have a date? That's what I'm saying, do we have a targeted date at least to say, well, at least by this day, we're gonna say we got this done, now we're gonna move forward with, he's gonna have it in his hands by this date. That's all I'm asking.
He'll most likely have this in his hands probably by Thursday.
Yeah.
So we'll pin Terry down on, David needs to give us his dates for that. There is going to be a legal issue with those dates being extended because they're tied to the local authority, the Brownfield Authority approving the plan and taking it back to the Michigan Strategic Fund. And if that's an entity you follow, the Strategic Fund is in a whole lot of turmoil right now. That might be an understatement.
Councilman Brentwood.
Okay, that was why, Grant, that's why I brought up the existence of the prior agreement. And I sat through that, and we had good legal advice at that point in time. We had good professional advice from the realtors here in Southfield, and also paid realtors, and we had all the advice. And that's why I asked, with the original document that was signed, you indicated there was a nuclear button there that we have not touched.
The remedy, the key remedy drafted in the contract is to reclaim the property.
Okay, so that was in the original agreement. And with the mayor, I was there when they came in, David and his father and all the others, this song, and that met our agreement, that met our vision, and that kind of swayed the group, which consisted of good legal advice, real estate advice, but professionals around the table. And we have not reached that drop dead date in that original agreement.
What we have done is, and I'm just going to make this aside, but within that document, they are obligated to perform all of their construction and development in accordance with city ordinances and code, as well as the ODD, right? So that's a lot of detail that just got incorporated. You got to do it in accordance with the city ordinance and with the ODD. To your question about was it not incorporated, when they didn't hit their milestones,
right,
they did have financing in place, or they did have financing in the queue, and they came to us and asked us to extend those, and so that was 2024. And so in 2024, we took we did the second amendment, first amendment put in Costco, and maybe extended some dates, and then the second amendment extended quite a few dates, including for that phase 1A, right? So we gave them additional time, and I believe at this point in time, again, they're beyond their deadlines, especially with phase 1B, the phase 1A B building. And so that's, to your point, where we need to get new dates that you guys want to hold them to. And so I gave you a really long answer. Short answer was, when they ran against their deadlines, we extended it.
So, I'll be very succinct here. We, as a body, have not enforced what was in the original document.
Right.
Okay, so
Because our cure is default.
Yeah.
Our cure is default. We can say you didn't do this.
Okay.
You're talking, he's got 170 million in assets there. Don't think it's that easy to default.
Okay,
So,
let me just get a good answer. It's in the original document, there was a performance that we agreed to at that point in time, and he has defaulted on that. Well, or we have not enforced that.
Right.
So we have not enforced what's out there.
Yeah. And I typically represent global corporations going out and building factories and employing people and generating economic development revenue, right? And I will tell you that it is not atypical that, like, I had a plant in Iowa, I'll just keep it generic, where the federal government revoked a key credit to what we were producing. So we went to the state and they extended it. So oftentimes communities do, because they still see the value in the development, they do extend, they
Right.
do.
Yes, I understand, as life goes on, you make a change, that's why you have these different agreements as you go along, building everything. And this is an excellent document. So, this is an attempt to come back to something we already got in place. This is an attempt to put more teeth to what we have in place.
Yeah, so this is, speaking to you as my client, this is a little bit of the city exercising its leverage. Contour wants a sports zone, but before we say yes to a sports zone, we go, yeah, but we're not happy with the dirt piles. We're
Okay.
not happy with the fencing. And I don't know if the fencing is in accordance with code, but we're not happy with it, right? And so this was, as Fred and I talked, I said, well, let's get a punch list of stuff that we want. So before we give you approval for a sports zone, we know that we get some of these smaller issues that are really plaguing us taken care of. And then for the mayor, adding some liquidated damages to that.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you.
Councilman Vanderbilt.
Okay. So last week, we had two motions.
Yeah.
The first motion was to.
You got it? Oh, okay.
The first motion was to allow the sports dome amendment. That was done so Detroit Rising can start their process and get it going. The second motion was to move the ODD agreement timeline and phasing plan to May 18th. Okay. Part of that phasing plan is what we're also asking for in this document.
Correct.
So he had a punch list
Correct.
and an updated phasing plan, which is part of what we're asking for in here. So if in the 18th, 14 days, if he comes back and he hasn't done the punch list, we say, we don't approve this, and even the sports dome, he's kind of in flux, because it's not gonna go forward. But the one thing that I know he has to work on, we have some dates in here, but some of those dates are what he's working with Terry, that's the phasing plan and the as-bills and everything else. So this is a combination of the punch list and what what we are requiring him to have. We're just being a little bit proactive by talking about it 2 weeks ahead of time and have it in writing that we can see as a council. So I just want to clarify that, because I think that was where some of that confusion was.
Thank you.
Well, I'm in agreement with everything you said, it's just I think these dates need to
Those are placeholders.
Right, but that's what prompts my question, because it was May 18th, and there was a lot of confusion with reference to that motion. I'll be honest with you, I went home and my husband and I talked about it afterwards, because he's like, what did you do? So we went back and through the process, so that's why I asked, what was everyone's understanding for May 18th?
Any other comment or question?
I have a comment after we close this, but in reference to this after we close it, though, always.
Yes,
I do have an update on the dirt. So Charlie the Dove came back to Northland today. He also came over here and wanted to speak with me. I will not speak with him unless he has proof, which he doesn't have. In the meantime, on our website is the questions and how to, which I'm having a hard time with getting to Eagle. But anyhow, that is on the website. So he's not gonna let this go. So it's important that we're addressing the leveling of the dirt and all of the things that, you know, related to trying to create a scandal, and that part of the punch list. So I don't know if you were aware, supposedly David's coming in tomorrow and press trespassing charges against him.
Oh, he was on his property too?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we had to be removed, and then he came back.
Like I said, anybody could walk on there.
Well,
It's pretty tight, although I will tell you, Saturday, 3:30, a gate was open, Sunday, yes.
if somebody's working, maybe the gate is open, but.
You need to lock her off.
For such a large site, I'm sorry, there needs to be somebody wherever interest there is, seriously. With all that's going on and all that people are doing, I said this before, seriously, I'd like to have proactive, whatever we want to call it, before something happens. That is too large of a property to leave it secure like that, and that's very irresponsible.
And I just want to confirm, we're hoping to get this to him this week, because in all fairness to Contour, I mean, he probably should have had this last week. But, I mean, at least we have a document, but he really should get it as soon as possible, because we only got 2 weeks.
Are you saying we shouldn't have seen it first?
No, well.
We discussed it last week, though, didn't we? So
Well, we kind of knew the punch list prior to last week, so.
Yeah, right, but we discussed last week doing this, so this was all in the works, and that's why we have it now. Yeah, so that was the discussion.
So we have the bullet points of it, and now it's turned into an agreement. And we did have a call with him last week, listened to some of his concerns. He's not gonna love this, but I will press on him that this needs to be before council on the 18th. And to your point, will you have a chance to see changes? And yes, we'll provide you a red line of any changes.
Thank you.
Good? Councilwoman A?
Are we done with it?
Yeah, we're done with this.
I just, it's kind of in relation to this, just a little bit of a side thing. With all these businesses and some of these things we're seeing are kind of common, is there a way that we can put some of these practices in place for what's coming down the line with other businesses? I mean, one, the concern about the soil will probably never go away with Powell's being anywhere, and with us being a target with Charlie LaDove and whatever these other protesting groups are. Yeah, there's some parameters we can put in place now for all these businesses, because we're seeing some things happening that are just kind of common to, what power do we have to avoid a lot of this and some of the best things that are happening?
I haven't heard anything from Wellspring having a problem. You know, they're brownfield also, right?
No, but I could tell you, we poke holes every 10 feet. I had to go through a NEPA. national environmental protection
I
and
think it's the quality of the,
Yeah,
the
but
response.
Lee came forth with something about Wells Fargo.
Well,
Yeah, she did.
it was Hooper Street,
Hooper Street,
which is
yeah.
a separate
Which was fair,
project.
right, right.
The sanitary sewer line
Right.
in the county that had
Failed out,
collapsed.
right. And I'm just saying that just in case, I mean, I saw in Detroit, I mean, where Duggan had to do some stuff, because people were just coming in running game. And I'm just saying, we don't know if we're gonna have something down the line. What can we put in place to make sure we don't have some of this, just for the things?
So Michigan law provides you buy a business,
Mhm.
you should always get a baseline environmental assessment. Think of it as a time date stamp with the soil conditions.
Mhm.
Recognize that the things we test are constantly changing, background standards, there's a constant evolution. Right now, I can tell, certain programs, when we did NSP, SNRI, we
Okay.
tested for lead, asbestos, radon in homes. The private marketplace isn't doing that now, unless you have a private report done. But I'm telling you, they're not testing for lead, they're not doing that level of testing. But I would say Michigan law provides for that. It's getting easier to read these. Anything done in the last 5 years, you can find the site on the state website.
All right. Thank you.
We're doing John Grace right now. It's 2 months in. The school has been gutted. They're pouring foundations. When we were out there last Friday. I mean, that's ripping right along. And they did the soil, all the soil stuff has been done there.
We re-engineered the soils on the new pad. They were a sandy loamy, and they had to meet the compaction levels necessary to hold the building. And
All right, well done, thank you.
anything else, Council? Yes, sir.
Can we talk about this event that the chamber was putting on? About
For the government?
Yeah.
What's about, what's your question?
Well, so I know that they changed the title, right? Originally it was Meet Your Southfield Council People. And I know that there were some concerns about Open Meetings Act issues if more of us show up than not. So that's one concern, but I guess the other question is, is that something that we should have talked about as a whole, rather than having the chamber just talk to the president and get a go-ahead? Because that's what I was under the impression
So
that I was told.
So the email that I sent to you all, you look at the date timestamp of it, I didn't have it much longer than you all did. So I didn't have any conversation with the chamber. Do I agree with what they're trying to do? I think it makes sense. I didn't give them approval because I can't give them approval. I sent it to you all for you all to be aware and give feedback. And once we didn't have that, I asked them to revise, and they revise their approach. So I didn't think there was anything for the council to do. It's their event. They change the criteria. If we choose to participate because you're elected, that's on you all. There's no action for this council.
Well, I guess, I don't know, I felt like also they should have just sent it to all of us. If they're putting on an event for all of us.
When we had the meeting when I was pro tem, you were president, we gave them criteria that information goes to the council president in that meeting that we had with the chamber.
When we gave them the criteria, you were already president. It was the second meeting.
Oh.
But I recommended, I recommended it go to the clerk. Because for them to try to keep up with, President Pro Tem can change every year, clerk is stable for at least 4 years. But, again, that's, but I know Mr. Zorn, you had a question?
I had concerns over the Open Meetings Act, which I expressed. The other item, if the event is to happen, to coordinate it with planning as part of your public input session. I mean, you have to do that type of exercise when you're redoing your master plan. And I think we've got 2 more years, but I would want my planning group there gathering the information as feedback. We spent good money surveying different groups. To hear that is material that can be incorporated into the master plan. But I do have a concern about the Open Meetings Act.
I agree with you.
And I figure you can work,
But I'm gonna be honest. Before I became elected, I didn't know much about the Open Meetings Act, criteria, so I don't think that they weren't thinking along those lines. So that's one reason why I sent it to you all, so that we can first see if that's something we're interested in, then we reel them in.
Okay, so then, I'll let Don talk to the Open Meetings Act for a second, but, I know they fixed it so it's not Southfield, it's elected officials or government officials, but then you mentioned that there was gonna be themes. I didn't see a theme on that flyer, or is the whole program and process still working?
They're doing listening series. So it's not just government and elected, it's various types of business, things that relate to the chamber, schools.
Right, so that's what I wasn't sure, it said each month is gonna have a different topic. Is that?
Not for us, for, like I said,
them.
For them with their various stakeholders that they relate to.
Is that gonna be advertised?
Just like that one flyer, there's gonna be flyers for those other things.
Okay, because that flyer was just very general. It didn't have like anything specific. That's why I'm asking.
But may I ask, I guess I have a question about all of this, because I'm very confused. So, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated
Who are
has
they?
listening sessions, right? They have listening sessions, I believe it was Haley and Rashida one night. It was, I think they're getting Abdul. I was actually asked to participate, to sit down representing just someone from Oakland County who's been on the school board and council. I've been invited by multiple different factions. I guess my question is, what's wrong? Like, I don't know the history. I feel like this is a historic thing because chambers, groups are having listening sessions out the wazoo. Downtown Detroit, I mean, the Hudson Building has different fraternities, sororities, groups, they have them. So what's going on in Southfield that I'm unaware of? Because it just feels weird to me. Like,
I think this one was different.
I saw the
Because
flyer with the Southfield City Council and I understand.
Well, like the alphas or
Yeah.
all that, like I didn't know they had one, but so, like, anybody else that have them, I think before they put your name on a printed
They
material,
come and
they'll
talk to
ask
you.
you. That's the
Agreed.
difference. That's the difference.
And I think we really need to be honest about the relationship between the chamber is not good. And I'm gonna tell you, before you got it, I got it. I was at a ribbon cutting on Sunday, Saturday, and
Friday.
I like Carol, I think she's a nice person, she just sent me a thing and said, oh, by the way, I just wanna give you a heads up about this. To me, that was very insulting, because anything that has my name on it or anything that we represent is not good. This is what I saw from her. I said, well, how did they approve of this? Okay, first of all, this says Southfield City Council with members. Anytime anybody invites the city council to anything, it should be formal. We have a paid relationship where we give money to the chamber. There's a protocol that should be understood in place to say, come to the committee meeting and say, we're having this is like a legislative day. You can't just point blank put out the council. First of all, it's a Saturday. Okay, and I think it was pointed out by someone that's a religious holiday for him. Second of all, it's a Saturday. It's a Saturday. That's just all in there. You're gonna say something to a Saturday without asking us to, I mean, and it's in June. And I told Carol, we plan things way ahead of time. How about the chairperson, the executive director come to the council and say, this is what we're planning to do. Any ideas on how you would like this done? I mean, she has even the wrong Southfield City Council brand on you. You don't do this without checking with the council. And this speaks approval by us. This is all wrong. And to have been an executive director for that long, I was a part of the chamber. We don't do this like this. We have a relationship with the chamber. When we were working with the chamber, the mayor would show for things, he would know he's gonna be there, it would be approved. To take the second letter and say, with government officials, okay, we're still in part of this.
So if you show up and you show up because he can't show up on Saturday and I can't show up on Saturday, what do we look like? Oh, they don't wanna be here. That could be an assumption. I'm just making a statement. That could be an assumption. And I think it's insulting to not have come to us to say which day is good for you, which day works for you, this is what we're planning on doing. And I think moving forward, we need to have a relationship that speaks to the body. Because when she showed me that, I was like, wait a minute, you know. And this again talks to the fact we talked about before. I saw the police department name on something that they didn't really approve of. So we got people doing this type of stuff. And to me, I wouldn't want, we shouldn't have this. It just should not be. And she should come before us in a proper manner and ask or have a committee meeting and say how many would like to come. Because it would not look good if one of us show up or two of us show up and the rest aren't interested. Anything could be said. And if they're going to invite one person, you invite all of us to let us know.
So to your point, I did have that conversation with her to say the procedure, that's one of the reasons why the name changed, because we didn't go through proper.
Right, but it was just that you had the conversation with her, and this is not good because it's just that we need to speak to, we need to address her because when she came and talked to us here, she asked, you know, you all had a conversation again, it was just 2 or 3 of us. We need to speak to the chamber as a body and get a lot of things clear because it's just not making for a good relationship. And I think all due respect, we all should have a conversation about where we think we need to be going moving forward or doing things with the chamber. And I think that's just like with anything else, we need to do that. It's almost like there's a spokesperson, but it's not, we're a body of 7. And there are some things where as a body of 7, we all need to have some representation on what's being said and how things move forward and how we agree on it. I mean, just for her to say the change, that's not enough for me. It's just not enough, and it still doesn't address the protocol that she did not come to this body and ask about having a meeting. And we didn't say how this is gonna go. We don't know what we're in for.
So y'all don't like the chamber.
That's what I'm hearing. I don't like it.
Y'all don't like the chamber.
I'm not, no, wait a minute, no, we're not gonna leave that like that. Because it's not about liking the chamber. Like I said, I was a part of the chamber, and this is not how we operated. I don't like the way the relationship is going and like things are happening. And I think that's what we need to address. That's what needs to be going moving forward. No, I don't like some things that the way they're going. And I think we need to address that and stop moving forward without addressing it. And that's a given. And there are some other things with that we need to discuss. We have not discussed about the chamber, and we need to bring that to the body of 7. That's all I'm saying.
Do you have a list of those things?
Do I have a list of those things?
No, that's
I have a list.
Just so that we can
being a part of the
coordinate.
chamber before, I'm one person that may have a list, but I'm not the only person.
I mean, so that we can talk about it, make sure that we have a comprehensive list of.
Well, I think we need, does anybody agree with me that we need to have some discussion about some things?
Well, I thought she was going to be bringing something back to us. That's what
Who is she?
the director.
Well, and the director is not the one that presented this to Yolanda at the event. That both the mayor and I were also at, only Yolanda saw it. And it was not the director, it was
Carol Jackson.
okay, who I didn't even know at that time.
And that's
Just
another
FYI, and she said, look, she
No, I
came up
just
to
meant-
Yolanda and said, look what we're doing.
I just
If I didn't like the chamber, I would have never attended the events in the past that I have.
I just was asking, I don't know y'all historical relationship.
I just want us to be able to move forward and have a comprehensive.
I want to put it on record that we need to have a conversation with her as a body of 7. And we need to understand that.
I think we have challenges
Yes.
between, but I think it goes on both ways, because I think, honestly, if I could speak, that's why she didn't come to us.
Right.
So, that she has that same, position that you may think when you say y'all just don't like the chamber. I think the same could be said from her end as to why she didn't come before.
Got it,
Agreed.
okay.
Agreed.
But see, here's the thing, I don't know the why. And I have to start with the why.
And I don't think we know the
because
why.
there's no way that I
I
can
think-
understand how this works.
So I'm just gonna say this. When, I know when the 2 of you had met with her, I thought when we cut that check, and Mr. Zone, when we cut that membership check, I thought I recalled that there were gonna be some outcomes that we get from the chamber and not just us cut the check. And I don't think we've gotten that yet. If I'm mistaken, then I'll say I'm mistaken, but I think, do you all recall that we
Yes.
were supposed to
Yes.
get something? And what that something is, I think I have in my mind, but I don't know what you guys, I can't remember what you guys discussed, but I think it's not unreasonable for us to expect something versus us just kicking out a payment of nearly 10 grand.
My own issue was just with an individual who was trashing the city and had a position, albeit it was a voluntary position, on the board. I didn't think it served the chamber and it didn't serve the city to do this negativity. That was, my issue, and I spoke to the director about it. And I was told last week that person has resigned. So that's a step in the right direction. We should be working together on positive, promoting.
But I do think it's on both sides,
And again,
because she may think that about us, but I'm just gonna be honest, I don't think the director is always so open to us. Because I think that there's things she could have, I don't know, I just don't think she is. And I just think we all have to come to the table,
That's what I'm
let
saying.
the
That's
past
what I'm
go,
saying.
but we all have to be
Move forward.
willing to move forward. And I think it shows by doing this, because
Right.
she could easily say.
And even when you said that, the announcement of Lisa Davis resigning, we should have been notified of that. In addition, I was told by Carol, I should be happy about it. That's not something to celebrate to me, because when I went out to talk to the young lady, when I left my seat to go out to talk to her, I simply asked her, could I talk to her? Because my reasoning for talking to her was to say, here you are, the economic development director of a committee on a chamber where we have an economic development director here, where we could build a relationship to get some things done, but you're attacking the very city that you're supposed to be supporting, that your organization is receiving funding for. And so then we had a conversation where you had one with her, and you explained that, well, if she be removed, then she could go out and say more things about us, or how would we put some things in place. It was never dealt with. It was never really dealt with. We never came to some resolution about what can be a reassurance. To me, had I been a director, I would have come here to reassure you all what was gonna happen with this person, how it was gonna happen, and moving forward. Now, I heard how she got replaced, but I had a conversation with Jasmine over text, and the last statement was made to me was, we're not having this conversation about this person anymore. And see, this is not good. It's just not good. It's not a matter of liking a person here. It has nothing to do with it. It's about respect. And I think that this is where we are drawing the line. It's not a mutual respect, and whatever needs to be aired out, it needs to be aired out here in front instead of behind the scenes in texts and conversations that don't equate to much or nothing but pure gossip and foolishness. And that's all I'm saying. And it's a business. The relationship with the chamber and the city should not be the way that it is. And it's just being defined by, okay, you tell Charles come back and tell us, we go back. Nothing has been resolved, good. Nothing good has come of that.
Madam Attorney, were you gonna say that we should assign ourselves so that we don't violate the open meeting? So for instance, we can make a schedule and decide who goes where. Was you gonna say something?
So the only thing I was gonna say, if it was like a community event, something for kids, for example, and you just happen to be there, and they said, oh, we'll have elected officials there, that's one thing, but the way that, I only saw it one time, you have to have notice, and you have to allow public comment. I think the confusion, like Council President said, that, people on the outside may not know the open meetings act, doesn't know that the city, can get sued, and there's fines and penalties. So, if you show up, it has to be noticed, there has to be public comment. I think when you have the state legislatures come, it's different, because you don't have that whole big group, so you can avoid.
I say we just schedule it, guys.
So
Just do
you
2
gotta
to
have
3.
notice.
And I think whenever we're out there, we should just always say that. This is why Because you had, last week, we had someone from our resident come up and, I think it was Ms. Robinson, saying, you guys need to go to, and I just said to her. And I was, yeah, and I think we should every time.
Betty is a board member. Betty know OMA better than anybody.
Well, sometimes people just like to,
Yeah.
But then again,
just to be pointing the finger at us, but I think we should always say and clear that, you know, after they speak to be able to say, we can't all go for that reason. I think I had said something like, people didn't want us to go because they don't want us to think that we're abusing our seats by getting before our voters like that. And that was really, that's what I was told. That's what I was told.
Interpreted that way.
Yeah,
That's
so,
true.
but if they ask us, we can certainly come. But I think on this, let's just all kind of schedule it. 2 or 3.
And also see what the agenda is, because.
Yeah, or whoever
we're gonna
wants
have
to go, I
outside
should
people
say
that are
that.
gonna know we're coming.
Whoever
They're gonna
wants
make
to
it, they can make it an ice issue again, you know, and target us for
He's
this
out
type
there
of thing.
watching you.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer.
Well, that may not even be the thing, but it will
Right,
certainly
sure.
come up.
Well,
It
that's
can
what I'm
certainly
saying,
come
if
up.
we're gonna
We
be
just have to be
invited,
prepared.
what are we being invited for? What's the agenda? How are we supposed to be there? In what manner are we representing the council there at these events? We need to know this.
I
mean,
think
that's
it
more than
sounds
fair.
like just to be there, whatever comes up, we have to try.
So moving forward, so that I fully understand what the result is from this. Is it Charles, the council president, that is going to request this meeting with the chamber? I'm assuming just the executive director, because I hear 2 things. I hear the first one is this body wants to meet with the chamber to talk what is the problem.
I
To
think
hammer through some
we should meet again, not tonight, it's too late. And we talk about what our expectations, I don't want her to come.
To your point.
And that's what I'm asking.
To your point, I would like to come over with, that's why I was asking about the list. Not to put, I wanna have
Right.
an
I
agenda,
wanna be detailed, just like I said about the
Yeah,
event.
and
I
then
like
for
the
them.
agendas, right.
you know,
Yeah.
to establish that process.
Because you wanna know what you're walking into, you know, and it's not an attack, it's just, hey, we need to have this conversation instead of just, you know, I keep saying all the time, kicking the can down the road, she said, and then, you know, it's just enough of that.
And so my next question was, Dawn said that and Council Pro Tem also said that we should assign ourselves a date that we're gonna go, if we're gonna go. So my ask is, how do you implement that? Is it as easy as just sending out an email, copy everybody saying, I will attend?
Can't do that.
How do you do that then?
Why can't you do that?
You can't.
So that's getting consensus and, that's almost like deliberating in the see that head shake?
For an
If
invitation?
somebody
Yes.
just
You see, if you're sitting out and then you're deliberating over the email, instead of sitting here like you are now,
Yes.
unless, I mean, there's ways that you could probably
That-
tell one
That's pretty
person.
much, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't. You should.
For an,
Are they
I-
scheduled?
it's not like we're deliberating on an item, we're either
She did.
accepting
I'm
or
gonna put
rejecting.
together a
Well,
packet.
that's why,
because we
that's the
just-
only reason I'm asking, because I don't want it to come back here, somebody went and didn't tell everybody, and then it's a problem, so I'm just trying to get clarity on how to do this. I understand the why and I understand the what, I just would like to know how
We just need to
everybody
know
would
the
like
proper
to do that.
procedure moving forward on how to do this.
It sounds like they're monthly and on a certain Wednesday or
Because I mean,
Saturday.
I have attended, we've attended
Let's just
certain
get
events that they've had,
I attend virtually.
yeah, but you still do all of it. You know, sometimes it's conflicting, like the Inform, and I know those women, I just couldn't make that. And you just, you know, some of the things just, we have just gotten past the late notices. That was a bigger problem, you know, and.
I think, let's get the dates from her, because this way, it can be fair that everybody gets to attend, so that, because everybody can't attend. So if we say 2 or 3 each one, let's get the dates and we just start plopping
And
names
specifics.
next to her. If she has the specific, she may have, we have to acknowledge, she may just have the dates. And, you know, a lot of times you'll add the specifics as you know what's going
Right.
on when you're closer to that date, so.
So you're saying there's a consensus that council want to meet with chamber?
That's what I heard. So, you said.
I think we should
I'm trying to
support
figure
it.
out
I
what
think
we-
we should support it. And let's support by getting the dates, and then we can't all go, We get the dates
Well,
and we
it-
just
it'll
all,
be a
we just
meeting.
add our names,
Yeah,
yeah.
meeting published, council will be here, so it's not, if there's.
We're just better in the process of how we pull this together.
That's
That's
true.
all.
We can post it as a meeting like Dan said.
We can?
Yeah, of course we
Yeah,
can.
that's
Of
what I'm
course we
saying.
can.
If you
No,
go, then everybody.
No,
come
I know
in.
that we can, I was asking, is that what you said? I don't feel we should do
We gotta take attendance and
that.
some of
Yeah,
us.
I say
don't
no.
have
Public
access to
It's
any
theirs.
of
Okay.
Just get
We
the
have-
dates and we just add our names to the dates. It's kind of simple. No more than 3. We leave it at that. I can't see us all gonna be dying and gold. Maybe we will.
You good on that topic?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to bring up another issue. I know we had the recent communications meeting with the room and the residents. I don't know what was the results of some of the outcome, but I was just over at that establishment the other day, and they now have valet parking, which is real strange because it's like right there, but I guess that's the way of making money. But the people that come in, when they turn and they park up against the wall. And as I was there, there was a car parked up against the wall with the music so loud that my windows were closed and I could hear it. And this was past the time for the noise ordinance. That was one of the things that the residents complained about, and it went on for more than 10 minutes. And I think that we may need to, which I did talk to Chuck about, or get some signs put up from the establishment, because these people are parked against these walls and they sit there for a very long time. And I mean, if I were that house that was right, or condo that was right there, that place in that window, it would have been annoying to me to hear boom, 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 boom at 10:30 at nighttime. And this is one of the things that they were complaining about. And there was a valet guy in the parking lot. I don't know if he was security or valet or not, but maybe it could be that he could say, hey, this is residential, you need to keep your music down, it's past the ordinance. I'm just saying this because if we're gonna, if they're gonna continue to be there, so if they're gonna be there, I think respectfully, it's not just one thing to have a community meeting, but I think we need to adhere to some of the problems, and that was one of the problems, the noise. And I think that if what I saw that Saturday was not stopped or what have you, it's gonna continue to go on, because people were sitting in their cars, and this one particular car, the music was extremely loud. You know, and then there are people that are driving through, that are coming from the place, and the music is extremely loud. And it's just setting a standard that this is a place where you can kind of do that. And I think maybe, you know, even the people that are in the parking lot can say, you know, when you leave out of here, or even have some signs posted to say, you know, quiet or what have you, noise ordinance, or let them know. It's just that I would have been upset if that were me, living there in a place with that person with the noise.
I have one other announcement. In case any of you have heard of this party place at 9 Island Beach Plaza. She's been charged with a semblance of noisy or riotous persons prohibited. The woman had a occupancy permit. This was litter, loud music, disturbing the people that live around. So I don't know, I've been dealing with it for several weeks. Anyhow, the police were there Saturday night, and she's being charged and brought to court tomorrow. She had an occupancy permit for a snack shop. She turned it into a party.
They're going on for months.
What's her name?
I just lost it.
Not only that, they loiter on the outside, they walk in around.
Yeah, Leona Gatling.
We have become the place for event spaces where people are getting these permits to operate when they have parties.
I just wanted to bring, in case you had gotten complaints, that we finally have something happening.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.